to 30 degrees, I think. So
a very robust 30.
It's a heat wave here in Kennesaw. We are here with three guys who love sports. My name is Chuck Burrs, along with my co-host, Mr. Robert Kennedy. Robert, how are you, buddy?
Frozen, and it's already fallen off.
I'm telling you, it's pretty bad. And we're here at Miller's Ale House, as we are every week. This show is to help men that are going through mental and physical issues. Take their minds off what they're going through for an hour. And if we can help somebody for an hour and you help somebody for an hour and they help each other, this world will be a better place. And Robert's also doing a little...
Couldn't have done that before my chiropractic visit.
Producer work. He's getting up, turning on the lights.
Thank you, Trent Brumbaugh.
Yeah. Trent, how are you, buddy? So, like we said, here at Miller's, every Wednesday at 5, we do the Owl Show at 7 o'clock. So if you want to come out, meet some KSU football players. Tonight we got a couple of them coming on at 7 o'clock. What'd you get to eat, Robert?
Chicken parm. I found it on an old note that I had made like 8 months ago, and I thought if I thought so highly of it 8 months ago, I need to revisit it.
Yeah, I'm in the rut now. 3 weeks in a row, I've had the same thing.
It's not a rut if it's meant to be, and it's true love.
Oh, it's true love.
Well, there you go.
All right. Lichtenstein, Larry, what did you get?
I went with what you had today.
Hopefully off a different plate.
Yeah, hopefully it's a different plate.
All right, cool.
One jumbo plate where you guys get to sit real close.
All right, we're going to introduce our guests. First, let's get our Ron Smith commercial done.
Making preparations for when you're not around anymore is not easy. Nobody likes to think about their own mortality, and we can talk about this next week. Doesn't always fit into the big picture. And that's why you should contact our friend Ron Smith at Senior Life Insurance. Whether you're being buried or cremated, costs keep going up. But you can lock in a price today and take that final expense off your to-do list. Do your loved ones a favor and take care of your final expense so that when your time does come knocking, they won't have to worry about it. If you're age 1 to 85, they have a plan ready for you. So please contact our friend Ron and his team at 440-561-0758.
What was that number?
It was 440-561-0758.
And we thank you, Ron Smith, for being the sponsor of the Three Guys Who Love Sports. And we're welcoming back today a man that has held many positions. He's been General Motors, been general manager for a couple of pro franchises. And
in the same year,
and
wasn't
also
he?
an athletic director at where? Northwest, South, East, nothing?
Northeast, South Dakota State, something like that.
It is Northeast, Southwest Dakota State.
Northeast, Southwest Dakota State.
That's
one of my favorite colleges. Big hand for Farrell Middleton.
Hello, guys.
Merrill Finch. Farrell today has become a published author. Hold up your little book, Farrell, and give you a little.
Got it right here. Is there
pub
a camera somewhere?
right there.
Camera somewhere.
Right up there. Where
There
it
we
says,
go. Camera somewhere. Yep.
Yeah.
Came out today. Very excited about that.
Beautiful.
Doesn't have anything to do with sports, but it has a lot to do with everything else.
I don't know if we've had a published author on our show before.
We've had a lot of people. I don't want to put Farrell way ahead of everybody and say we haven't had one. We might have had somebody who squeaked a book out before.
Probably not anyone.
Maybe not this good though. Maybe not this
good.
good.
Yeah.
Well, this is the best book ever written, so
There
it couldn't have
is.
been as good as my book. So let's be clear. Yeah.
Oh, it's clear.
I was getting ready to start listing the top 5, and I decided not to because man, I picked some horrible books right off the top.
That's too fun.
All right, biggest news of the day, I guess, is the Buckeyes are the national football champions.
Yay! Go Ohio State! Go Frat Boys!
Go Buckeyes.
Yeah, I wonder how many cars are going to get firebombed in Columbus during the parade.
No idea.
I told somebody the other day, he said, a buddy of mine said, well, clearly they were the best team. Or he said, he started by saying they were the 8th best team. And then, clearly, I said, clearly they were one of the top 3 or 4 teams that just underperformed incredibly all year. They got woke up by that Michigan game, and man, anybody who remembered going into the year, everybody telling you, wow, Ohio State got everybody through the portal. They got everybody through the portal. You saw that in the last 3 games of the season. So we'll see what they're able to do next year as far as maintaining or finding their new notch. But man, they look strong over the last 6 weeks.
They did do that. Ryan Day definitely saved his job because it was in a very precarious position after the Michigan game, going 0-4 against Michigan.
Yeah, 0-4 against Michigan.
Yeah.
But and what they did to Oregon, wow. I couldn't believe it. And when they had that first half against Oregon, I'm like, okay, that is the team to beat in the next couple of weeks, and it turned out that way, without a doubt.
It did turn out that way. College football is a funny animal. Congratulations to the Buckeyes. I wrote a friend of mine who went there and told her congrats on your Buckeyes. Actually, Evan Ingram's mom.
There you go.
She's an Ohio State Buckeye.
Yeah, there you
Well,
go.
you know, when you're getting into one of these brackets and you start looking at it, Notre Dame played Indiana. They played Boise. No. I'm sorry, Georgia. Then Penn State. So not exact. When you look at the gauntlet that Ohio State went through, they went through an SEC team, the number one team, and the last SEC team. Anybody God and just touchdown Jesus threw at them. They played well and they deserve that trophy.
And they did have 3 of the top 5 in the final AP poll in the top 5. The Big Ten did. Is that correct?
I do believe.
Wow, that's big. Big for them.
Ohio
It's been a
State,
while.
Oregon was 3, and Penn State was 5.
And I saw a preseason poll yesterday, which of course is
Means squat.
squatanada.
Yeah.
But they had Penn State there.
Did they really?
And number one?
Penn State was number one. I
Really?
said it to a buddy. I said, well, most of you will think this is funny, and the other guy will be really excited.
Yeah, interesting.
And
Yeah.
I am so unmoved by any preseason polls anymore, especially after the year that we had this year. With Navy, with Army, with Indiana. I mean, I was at the things Friday at the school, and I was talking over somebody. I said, I mean, we have truly reached parity in college football because you don't know what's going to happen. I mean, when your starting quarterback, Carson Beck, is leaving to go to Miami to hang out with his girlfriend, and there's so many other starting quarterbacks that are leaving to go to another school, you don't know what next year is going to be like.
You definitely don't. But, when you look at Notre Dame and how they've become the hired gun looking for quarterbacks, I was never impressed with what they brought to the table the last 2 years. Now, did this kid take him to the national championship? Yes. On the first drive of the game, did he run for 4 yards 19 times and work them on down the field? Absolutely. But when you think, Miami's already getting more bang for their buck with Carson Beck than Riley Leonard. So it'll be interesting if Notre Dame keeps going this route, if they're able to poach a decent quarterback someday soon.
Well, one thing on Chuck's point about the parity, I agree with that. Look at the crazy games this year. Vanderbilt beat Alabama. Really? Are you kidding?
Well, Vanderbilt's another one of the schools that you never talk about. But because they brought in the quarterback from New Mexico State, isn't that where he came from?
Yeah,
something like that.
Pavea or something like that.
Yeah.
And they had
He was
a really
player.
good year. Yeah.
Well, and then the other one, like Notre Dame losing to Northern Illinois. And they end up in the national championship game.
Could you
Just
imagine?
crazy stuff?
They were this close away from winning a national
Yeah.
title. You go, well, who was the one blemish? This dang old Northern Illinois.
Well, I'll tell you the one thing, though, is I enjoyed it. The sons-in-law are big college football fans, as are we. But every weekend had some excitement going on in college football this year.
It was a really
It was
good
really
year.
fun.
It was a fun year.
lot of fun. I mean, we thoroughly enjoyed it. We're college football fans, and we loved it.
To Coach Jerry Mack, who's the new head football coach at Kennesaw State, we had him on the show a couple
Friend
weeks
of the
ago.
show.
Friend of the show.
Name dropping.
And he basically, he said we could be competitive now. You don't have to wait. If you look at everything they've done over the past 2 weeks since Coach Mack's been on the show, they brought in a ton of players.
Excellent.
And it could be the next Indiana, or it could be the next Vanderbilt that made huge strides in 1 year. And it's the NIL portal, NIL and the portal that does it.
Yeah.
It does.
Well, I know y'all probably don't want to talk about them, but Georgia Tech Yellow Jacket. They had a good season, some quality wins.
They had a great year.
Yeah,
They got
did.
slaughtered by Vandy in the bowl game.
Well, I call that the Einstein Bowl of the South. Okay,
Yeah.
let's be very clear. Got some brainiacs on both sides, but they got a great coach, and the kids love him.
I
They
love Coach
him.
Key.
And-
I think he's the coach for Georgia Tech for
Yeah.
years to come.
It's awesome.
I think there's always an excuse out there for me. I can come up with one for anybody when it comes to their bowl game. You should have made it to the final 12. You weren't in it. You weren't, for that game, it was like, okay, you get to take I-20 for about an hour and a half. You don't get to go to the Bahamas Bowl. You don't get to go here or there. This is what you get. So,
That's funny.
I
So
understand.
speaking of the 12, what changes are going to be made, do you think, Robert, to the way the 12-team playoffs are set up?
First and foremost, conference champions do not claim the top 4 spots. How that works out in the long run, I don't know. But, we talked about this a little last week. the Big Ten, the SEC, they're okay with conference champions getting a spot. Currently, so is the Big 12 and the Mountain West. So there's really only one guy who's waving back there frantically, and that's the ACC saying this doesn't work. So we'll see. We'll see how it changes, but I definitely think that'll change, and that'll be the first one, and then maybe reseeding after the first round.
Yeah, because I've seen some things where it's the top 12 teams ranked, period.
Yeah.
Know where they are. Is that the way they go? And
I don't think you're going to get that just because you get so much SEC and Big Ten bias. You know, we talked about it 2 years ago. If this format would have been around a year ago, 11 of the 12 teams would have been, now some of them were packed schools at that point,
Pac-12
and
schools
some of
at
them
that
were
time.
Big 12 schools. But with the change in conferences,
Yeah, maybe they do something like along those lines, because I agree that the top 12 need to be there. Those first 4 games they were awful. I mean, they were snoozers.
well, all the
Snoozers.
buys
They were terrible.
got beat. Every team that had to buy got beat,
just wasn't any good.
including the
Yeah,
Dogs.
but maybe they do something with a cap on like 3 SEC teams can get in the top 12.
Oh,
or
I don't
something
think. I
like
don't think.
that. I don't know.
I like it, but I don't think the SEC would go for that. Sankey, isn't that his name? The commissioner of the
Yeah.
SEC.
Anyway,
He's
but
not
they
going
got
through
to
that.
they got to change something. But I understand from my sons-in-law that no changes can be made for 2025. It's going to be the same, but next year in 2026 is when they can make adjustments. I don't know if that's what y'all understand as well.
as far as big adjustments, yes.
Okay,
I
got
think
it.
there can be some minor tweaking that goes
I
on.
got you.
It's still going to be 12
Like,
teams. other
who's
words.
Still
Yeah.
gonna be
who's
12
ranked 10
teams.
through 12.
I think one thing that you will see this year, and I'm not Bama Lama guy, so let's get that out in the public to begin with. But you got to give Bama a spot in that 12 if they go out and play the schedule that they played, especially when it came to non-conference games. When you reward IU, PU, and everybody else for playing nobody.
Yeah.
And F you.
Well, I stayed away from FU at this point, but
Fordham University. What do you think I was talking about?
that's exactly what I thought you were talking about. You purple guy. No, but at some point in time, you have to, and you have to do it sooner rather than later, because if you go by this system for 2 more years, then by the time you get to 2029 and you're ready to change the rules, the schedule's already set and everybody's playing nobody.
That's a good point, yeah.
You got to get that one rolling, because we do want to see those matchups during the year. And one thing that I know we talked about openly a year ago was what would it do to the regular season? Would it get rid of the regular season to where we didn't care about any games? I didn't feel that way.
Oh,
No,
this year?
no,
Yeah.
it was
Every
very, very
game
interesting
mattered
year.
every week for the
Well,
most
and
part.
we've always
It was
said that
great.
about there's only 2 teams, there's only 4 teams going.
Yeah.
Well, now once it's 12, everybody it won't matter. It mattered.
It mattered
It
this
mattered.
year.
Yeah, you say it mattered, but it doesn't matter that Michigan beat Ohio State. It doesn't matter that Northern Illinois beat Notre Dame. I mean, it all rolls on.
Yeah, it does. That's why you play the game, guys.
Yeah.
That's why you play 60 minutes.
But it
Yeah.
does matter from the standpoint that Notre Dame went flawless outside of that. Had Notre Dame lost
13
that,
straight
But
wins.
it wouldn't have mattered because Notre Dame could get no higher than 5th, and they got 5th.
Correct, but I'm saying had they lost that opening game in College Station and it would have had 2 losses by the time that other game happens,
It would have been a different animal.
They're done.
then they're lucky if they're 12th, because I don't think a 2-loss team that loses to Northern Illinois gets a lot of love.
I would agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else changes? I mean, any rule changes coming up in college football?
I've got a list here, and they've got a few things that they say. Consider the adoption of the NFL seeding, where after the first round you do a little tweaking.
Yeah.
Move playoff games away from bowl sites. I kind of liked the home field. Now, obviously, they went 4-0.
Everybody that liked to play
Yeah.
the whole field liked it.
Yeah.
Consider tweaks to the rankings to emphasize the strength of schedule and the metrics, which once again, that if only one thing gets done, I think that has to be the one thing that gets pushed through.
I know they want to keep more schools involved, but there are way too many bowl games.
Oh, it's
Way too many.
way too many. Can't even keep up with them. And there was one where
I can't pick them. I know that.
I saw they were like.
But you're glad they're on, right?
Yeah, 20 people in the stands or something crazy like that.
It's not good. And I talked to a camera guy a long time ago, and he'd been to a lot of bowl games. This was a conversation a long time ago, and he said, yeah, they put us in these positions, and then they see how I pan the field back and forth, and they'll actually go, hey, get everybody in section 317 and move them down there, so that way when I pan across, that looks like a packed stadium.
I've heard that as well. Yeah. Now
hey,
one thing
works.
Yeah, one thing on it as well is the geographic thing. And I don't pay that much attention to it, but like I'm said in my yellow jacket, if Georgia Tech goes to Idaho to play in a bowl game, ain't nobody going out there from Atlanta.
Well, Tech
it's
until
hard
about
for
7 years ago had the best bowl record ever of any college, and then all of a sudden they lost 5 or 6 in a row, and it wasn't like that anymore.
They didn't go for 5 years.
But they travel very well. I mean, Tech usually travels pretty well.
They do.
Yeah,
the smaller
but that
schools.
but your point is valid. Georgia Tech hasn't been good in a little while. If they put 5 great seasons together, maybe everybody goes to all the bowl games in year 1, year 2, year 3. By year 4, man, you better be giving me the Cotton Bowl if I'm ponying up
all
some
those
money.
Will Renfro type of people.
All those Will Renfros, I tell you, you can't.
You can't do it.
They're going to be in the top 12 next year as well, by the way. It's my prediction.
I'd love to see it.
Hey, I know the offensive coordinator already told Georgia to go pound sand.
There you go.
Buster Faulkner.
Yeah.
Okay. I saw that. Yeah. All right. You got anything else to add, Robert, before we do our commercials?
I'm already sad.
I miss college football
I miss
already.
college
It's horrible.
football already.
It's horrible.
It's crazy, but yeah, it's gonna be fun. And next year, I'll say this: we didn't get any upsets that first round in the home games. All of the bye teams lost. Look for total chaos based on this year's norm.
Yeah. I would agree with that.
It won't happen like that ever again.
All right, let's get on to our commercials.
Joshua Smith and his wife Tammy are both graduates of Kennesaw State College. He's been practicing law for 24 years, specializing in sports and entertainment law while continuing in criminal defense, civil litigation, juvenile and personal injury. And he's ready to represent you all the way from your small town to the Supreme Court and any appellate court in between. With all the new rules regarding NIL and cash payments to athletes, they're placing a new emphasis on Kennesaw State University student athletics to help our student athletes better navigate some of the bigger issues that have tripped up so many. Give them a call tomorrow at 706-217-2095.
I missed that number. What was it?
That's because you weren't paying attention. 706-217-2095.
And thank you to Joshua and Tammy. Saw them both at the basketball game Saturday, so it was good to hang out with Josh. He said he needs to send me a check. I said, you got the address. Send it on. All right. Our other sponsor, there are a lot of places to get your oil changed in the Kennesaw area, but if you're looking for a personal experience, then stop in at Castro Kennesaw Express Lube or Lost Mountain Express Lube. We'll always do our best to get you in and out quickly, safely, and without a whole lot of fuss. We're a true owner-operated business, and you'll find Brian under a car or hood at one of the shops. We offer experienced, knowledgeable technicians and the latest computer software to help you maintain your new car warranty and keep your pride and joy running for the next 100,000 miles. We proudly offer Castrol products. We proudly offer
Castrol products.
Thank you very much. I went up there. We got a new guy at Logan, I think, at Kennesaw Express Lube. Brian wasn't there the other day. Probably out eating some funky food or something there. Finding something else to post on Facebook. But all right. Thank you, Brian, again for being a sponsor of the show. This is probably going to be the one debate that brings out a lot of animosity between everybody because this
for me.
I know, but you already told me last week that if I'm
you're a moron.
I'm a moron. So I know
I said that, but I really don't believe that. I really don't, because there are some really good names.
We had started this, I guess, a couple of years ago, going through the jersey numbers and who's the greatest athlete to ever wear a certain number. Started at 0. And now we're all the way up to 44. And what a great number to get back on with, because there are some great athletes that were number 44. And let's just list a few of them. Willie McCovey.
Stretch.
John Riggins.
Man.
MVP of the Super Bowl, right?
In 1982 Super Bowl, they always show that highlight as a toss sweep. 2 guards, that old pig offensive line pulling guards coming around, and Riggins just running over some Dolphins.
Them the Wild Hogs or something like that.
They were the Hogs.
The Hogs. Yeah.
Is he in the Hall of Fame?
He
did he
is.
Make it? Okay,
he
I
is.
just wasn't sure.
Jerry West.
The logo.
Iceman, George Gervin.
The Iceman, man.
Met
he
him
was
one
cool.
time.
Did you really?
Oh, yeah, that was hilarious.
They called his kid Ice Cube. I
And
don't know if
Pete
you knew that or not.
Maravich, yeah.
He was
Pistol
the
Pete.
first Ice Cube.
I got to tell you the funny where we met George Gervin. So I was working with some M&M Mars people at a golf tournament up in Crowsdale Country Club in Durham, North Carolina. And it was Children's Duke Golf Classic. So all these professional athletes were in there. Marino was there. But the funny thing, Jim McMahon, quarterback for the Bears, and his dad, John Hadel? No. John, some other quarterback, older guy, who was actually his father-in-law. And his father-in-law was yelling at Jim and McMahon. And no, Jim was letting his dad, yeah, you suck. You couldn't get out of the pocket, blah, 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 blah. And all of a sudden, George Gervin walks in, and Jim McMahon goes, Iceman, where are all the white women at? Woo! And everybody in the bar just cracking up. It was hilarious. Jim had been swimming that week, and he had on glasses up and swam into the side of the wall and knocked out his front teeth. So he had like this partial plate in. He's holding them up to everybody. One of the funniest things I've ever seen. So that's my encounter with the Iceman.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was funny. So I firmly believe.
Who else? You didn't finish the list, did you, Chuck?
That was my list. You got somebody else?
Well, you didn't mention Hammer and Hank.
Oh, Hank? I thought I said Hank.
You
No,
did.
no, you started on number 2.
You started
Okay,
on number
okay,
2.
well, Hank's on
yeah.
there.
It's all right.
Well-
Everybody watching knew which guy you omitted.
Yeah, we could tell.
Let me say this. I firmly believe, and I've heard this a million times, that the hardest thing to do in sports is to hit an 85, 90, 95, 100 mile an hour ball being thrown at you. I think it's extremely difficult thing to do.
That's what they say. They say it's the toughest.
I've heard it. I think having a hole-in-one in golf is, however,
Yeah.
Correct. But, yeah.
the chances of getting that are less. But hitting a baseball, yeah, I was not a
But
good
that's
baseball player, but
that's
hitting
got to have a
baseball
little
in the
luck
park
in
is
it.
huge.
The hole
Well,
in one.
the
I mean,
hole-
it takes skill.
The
Obviously,
hole in one
but-
is more comparative to a perfect game or something like this.
Absolutely, yes.
A hole in one, you're not doing 40 of those a year.
That's
so
correct.
so
And
it's a
not
different
happening.
thing.
Yeah, totally different. But I agree. Hitting a baseball out of the park is really, really hard.
It is very, very hard.
Yeah.
Just hitting it is very, very hard.
That's a good point.
I've taken one in the back at 85 miles an hour, and that wasn't easy. But but hitting my
Crazy
back
when
with
you're standing like this, how quickly that back turns.
it was pretty quick. And that
Oh,
was,
I'm sure.
That was just in batting practice, so I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
Billy McClure, a good friend of mine, actually hit me. He was 2 years ahead of me.
But
Man,
anyway.
it gives you some love when you see that old highlight with what's our favorite first baseman, Kruk. When Kruk
John
goes up
Kruk.
against Randy the big unit, and
Yeah.
he throws that ball at the in the All-Star game. And
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to switch sides. I'm going to move my helmet around. Please don't hurt me.
I heard something about Hank Aaron's story, and it was when a general manager was talking to his team or something like that about how to pitch to Hank Aaron, and it said, just make sure nobody's on base because it's going to get even worse or something like that.
Sure,
Or basically
sure. Well, and
walk
that's-
him or whatever because
that's it.
he's going to hit the ball and he's going to hit it out of the park, 1 out of 5 times or whatever that ratio was. But to me, he's the best number 44 ever.
Hank?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Especially being, we're in Atlanta, that
Well,
kind of thing.
in
all that
my
stuff.
opinion, he's
Yeah.
still the home run king.
I agree. Oh, yeah.
Bonds, in my opinion,
Bonds has an asterisk.
Hey,
We know.
at least part
Yeah.
of that. He has the ass. Yeah. Yeah.
But second, I think I like Iceman, George Gervin.
Do you?
Yeah, he was just so smooth to watch. And he played in that era when I think NBA basketball was really, really a good quality sport. He was one of those guys. He was a little second tier, behind Dr. J and all that kind of stuff. But, man, boy, that guy could shoot. Love to watch him.
Yeah.
He was good.
Gervin was good.
Let alone he does go down as one of the greatest nicknames.
Yeah.
Iceman.
Yeah.
Doesn't get much better.
Yeah.
Well, I have got some quotes that really kind of swayed me because if I had to say right now, I'll split this number 44.
Oh Lord, you're going one guy with 4, one guy with the other 4.
No, that would work though. I like that.
Well, then you got to get some room for Lou Gehrig because that's probably who you voted for the first time when you said 4.
No, I mean, like I said, I think Hank Aaron is probably the greatest baseball player that ever lived. I think he used to go in the tunnel and smoke and then come back out and hit a home run. And to me, that just doesn't scream athlete. I think he's the greatest baseball player ever. Great admiration for everything Hank did. And you know Mark Ferris, right? Mark's been on the show a few times.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to call Mark because Mark had the opportunity to meet Pete Maravich a couple of times. Mm-hmm. And I said, well, Mark convinced me that I got to go with Pete and he just gave me all these stats. He said, go look at Pat Riley's quotes. Go look at these quotes.
Yeah.
Go blah, 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 blah. And I did. And I found some really interesting quotes.
Let me hear them.
Yeah.
Sway me.
This is from Elgin Baylor.
Pretty darn good ball player.
Oh, yeah.
Oscar Robertson was the best guard I ever played against. Jerry West, who also is on our list, number 44, was the best I ever played with. And Pete Maravich was the best player I've ever seen.
Wow.
So if Oscar Robertson was number 44, he just gave you 3 reasons to split your pick?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Well, good. Keep going, Chuck. I got some more to say.
There are others. Pistol Pete is a legend to all
Yeah.
who understand the history of the game.
Yeah. Well, the one thing with it, again, he was the leading scorer for years and years, and Caitlin Clark came along. Kudos to her, all that kind of stuff. But
Yeah.
I did hear, and I'm really split on this, as all these stats and records go and that kind of thing. He did it in like 40 less games or something like that. I don't know what the number is, but his point per game average was just astounding. She has more points. Glad she did it. I think she brought a lot of stuff to women's college. I know we're talking about that, but she brought some life to that sport. But he did it in a lot less games.
Bill Walton, like a master chess player, Pete Maravich saw things that nobody else did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, now there are people that did not like playing against Pete because they didn't like the show dog and all that showing off the dribbling through the legs. But he was ahead of his time. That's what Pat Riley said. He was way ahead of his time.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. You know, in basketball, I always like to say it's it builds upon every player that there was. You know, you couldn't have Jordan and Dominique unless you had Dr. J. And you couldn't, and then if you want to start going backwards from there, without Pistol Pete, there's no crazy path. You wouldn't have Magic. Magic learned doing this pass when he was 9 years old because he was watching Pistol Pete.
Yeah.
So it's definitely all connected.
Yeah.
Let me read you this one quote, my last one. There's a lot of them in here. I'll let you read this one. And let me see if you can tell me who said it. He was one of the truly great players that could fill an arena. He was an excellent player. He could dribble with both hands, shoot with both hands, and see the whole court. I enjoyed playing with Pete. His biggest influence to my mind, was his ability to pass. When he stepped on the court, it was like a warning sign. Watch out. I know how to play the game.
Oh, absolutely.
Who said that? Who do you think said that?
Oh, I don't know.
Julius Erving.
Larry Bird.
There you go.
Oh, Larry Bird.
Larry Bird. So,
that's a pretty good testimony
yeah.
there.
And I know, I mean, Pete was 5-time MVP, not MVP, but All-Star in the pros. I know that he averaged 44 points a game in college. If there had been a three-point line, it was 57.1.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow, really?
I've seen those stats before.
Yeah.
But Hank did so much for the game and so much for this. So my most
Here he
my
goes.
co 44.
Colt
can't get away
44,
from
not
it.
Colt 45s. Well, it'll be next week a Colt 45. It'll have to be a Colt number 45. I just think they're both fantastic.
They are.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna read you the quote that puts me over. Now I do completely agree. Willie McCovey, good Lord, Stretch is one of the greatest ball players ever in the 500 club.
McCovey Cove,
Jerry West, and Pete Maravich. Riggins was a great runner for a small amount of time, but he's that old archaic white guy who he doesn't have breakaway speed. He just runs through a brick wall and something else.
sounds like me.
Very close to DeBurge. Here's the one I want to read. Dear Hank Aaron, retire or die. The Atlanta Braves will be moving around the country, and I'll be moving with them. You'll be in Montreal June 5th through 7th. Will you die there? You'll be in Shea Stadium between July 6th to 8th, and in Philly, July 9th to 11th. Then again, you'll be in Montreal, and maybe you will never make it to St. Louis because you will have died somewhere else. This is the kind of stuff this guy was getting on a regular basis. So, although I do believe Hank Aaron's entire career gets this award. His single seasons, there's probably Willie McCovey's probably got a better single season than Hank did. But the thing is, sign, see you later. And this is something this guy dealt with for game in, game out. And it's kind of like the Jackie Robinson aspect, where if you get somebody who does react to the crowd screaming things at him, you're not where we are today in sports.
I totally agree.
That's a good point. I agree with that. Yeah. Well, Hank's my guy.
Hank's a great guy. He was a consistent hitter, always over 300.
Career hitter of 300.
Yeah.
And just a pure legacy on the game. I mean, like we were talking about, he transformed the game.
Yeah, like I said, my sharing it with Pete takes nothing away from what Hank did. I think they both were both ahead of their time.
All right, I'm going to play a numbers game with you. I give Hank 56%. I give Pete 44% for the number 44.
Well,
How's
there
that
you go.
for some math?
Well, he
to
averaged
100.
44 points a game, so that's why I had to be fair.
There you go.
All right.
It's all about it.
All right, my brain's exhausted. Let's do a brain train commercial, Larry, and we'll get into some pro football.
Hey, it's Melissa at Brain Train Centers, the fastest growing neurofeedback provider in the world, and I have some pretty important questions for you. Do you or someone you know struggle with focus and attention, sleep, memory, or other mood issues? Or maybe you just want to achieve more in high-pressure situations. Well, what if I told you you can unlock your brain's full potential and change your life entirely through neurofeedback, a drug-free and natural approach to negative moods, and it's backed by more than 50 years of research, so it's not new. It is safe for both children and adults as you retrain the brain to create new pathways. Medication may help short-term, but they don't address the underlying issues. Just as push-ups help your physical strength, neurofeedback is personal training for your brain. With over 20 offices nationwide, don't hesitate to reach out to Brain Train Centers, as we will provide you with the highest level of compassionate care and help you achieve the mental clarity, performance, and calm you deserve. Your journey to a better quality of life starts with a brain map. Now you can retrain your brain and reset your life. So just call or text 470-291-2778 or visit braintraincentersinc.com.
Thank you, Meg and Melissa, for being sponsors of the Three Guys Who Love Sports. And it's time to talk some pro football, the divisional round games. Man, I'm usually...
Was that this weekend?
Yeah.
I didn't watch anything.
Wow. I usually don't get involved in the ref did this and the ref did that, but I thought the refs were horrible in the Kansas City game. Not only the roughing the passers on
where the two players
with
the
hit
two
on
guys
top of him,
headbutted above him.
But also I saw at least two false starts that Kansas City had, and didn't call a thing.
Yeah.
Didn't call a thing. And I don't believe I've ever seen a coach come out and say, well, we had to beat everybody. And I won't say anything else, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I thought it was great. He must have said everybody like 5 times in a 12-second interview.
Yeah.
Got to beat everybody today, and I do mean everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There were lots of missed calls, lots of bad ones, all that kind of. I agree with you. And they got to be a part of the game, but I don't know what y'all think about the whole replay on penalties, either penalties being called to be replayed or penalties not being called. I don't know. I got mixed feelings on it, but you got replay in all other sports as well.
I just don't think you can take away the human element of the game.
You can't take away the human element, but one thing that you could do, how many times over the last 6 weeks in big football games, whether they were at college or pro, they go, that's not a reviewable play. We all know Larry didn't do that, but that play is not reviewable.
I'm sure Larry did it.
Well, there's a decent chance, but to Larry's credit, he's going to walk off into the sunset because they're not allowed to review that play. And you see that, you hear that
progress and stuff like that.
More than that.
He's called down.
He's called down. Oh, they look at that stuff all the time. Is it a touchdown? Is it not?
The same thing with the targeting on Mahomes. On that particular play, you'd like to think that they're able to go in, watch the other two guys' helmets hit with Mahomes underneath.
Yeah.
Hey, there's no penalty. It's
Both times. And when the other guy was at Will Anderson that hit him in the chest.
Yep.
And they threw the flag. And I hated it for Houston. I thought it was a pretty entertaining game.
It was a good game.
Yeah. I mean, most of the games were good.
I agree with that.
The Washington game was really good.
Yeah.
Boy, just Campbell's just got to be swimming in his own soup right now. That's just not a good thing.
Well, Dan said it last year at the NFC Championship game. We're lucky if we get back this far. It's not easy to make it back. And, he responded with a 15-2 regular season and a number 1 and a bye and bye. Yeah. And now you have no coaches.
Well, with the Commanders and Lions, I mean, it was over with 4 minutes. And then the Lions kind of started to come back a little bit. Ran out of time, ran out of plays, but they made it interesting. They made them earn it. I thought that was a really good game. Really good.
A really good 2 snow games too. Not a lot of snow, but at least had snow on the ground.
Yeah, it's tough, but we talk. I've beat this drum until I can't beat it anymore. Did the Falcons blow a Super Bowl a long time ago? Absolutely. But when you were growing up, Farrell, and you were watching football on Sundays or Saturdays, did you ever see a team lose that was up 17-3? Nobody ever lost when they were up 17-3. And now it's commonplace. You look at that Ohio State Notre Dame game and you go, well, that score's pretty close. Yeah, because they went for two different times and got it. That was a 31-7 game. It was not that close of a game. And same kind of thing. You get into these games and I tell you, the player that when you go, okay, type into the computer, I want a guy who, with there's 6 minutes left, can utilize everything that he's got with the current set of rules. Well, his name's Jaden Daniels. He's good.
Yeah, one thing with that, and I don't know if this is maybe going back to the West Coast offense that, what's his name, put in with the 49ers.
Mr. Walsh?
Yeah, Bill Walsh put in. But what I found so surprising is with 60 seconds left and they got to go 60 yards for a field goal, how do they complete passes for 23 yards down the side? How is the defense that bad? I can't figure that out, guys.
They're playing the prevent.
Play the pervert defense.
And so when you play the prevent the win defense, you give up a lot of yardage. And, the idea is that you keep them in front of you. But good Lord, if anybody's been watching football for the last 20 years, you know that they're not going to – it doesn't work that way. Stop doing it.
It's just crazy. But, there's these chunks of yards with 30 seconds left. I find it amazing. It's exciting.
How about that second quarter in that game? 42 points, most points ever
game?
In the Commanders line. That was a 28-14 second quarter.
Wow, that's huge. Yeah.
Mind-boggling.
What was it, 31-24 at halftime? Is that what it was?
It was 31-21.
31-21.
A lot of points.
Yeah, I think the over was probably covered in the first half.
It was real close. The over was 55.5.
Oh, was it?
Oh,
yeah.
Close.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And then I think the best game is the one we all thought would be good, was the Ravens and the Bills.
Yeah.
I'm a homer. I love that game. But how many times have you watched a game where same thing with the Notre Dame Ohio State game? Somebody gets the ball and they look methodical and they work it straight down the thing. 7-0 in your face. And then they got nothing else for the rest of the game. You knew watching the Notre Dame that they had worked out every play. I still don't know how the Ravens were able to lose with those two weapons. I'm glad they did.
Yeah. But, it was a lot like going back to the Kansas City-Houston game. Houston outgained them over 100 yards.
Oh, yeah.
Had no turnovers.
Yeah.
And they still lost.
They just couldn't catch them. I watched that game. That was an afternoon game, I think, but they just couldn't catch them.
So in a divisional playoff game, Josh Allen had 127 yards passing and ran for 20. Did they win that game? They did, going away handily. So sometimes it's crazy when you look at the different stats. But that is a heck of a football team, and if ever there's somebody who is ready to encounter Arrowhead in all of its majesty.
Oh yeah. And did you hear what Lamar Jackson said? Catch the effing ball. I think he was really upset with Mark Andrews, and
I didn't hear about it. I heard he exploded.
Oh yeah,
that's what I heard. I didn't see it or hear it.
You got to catch the ball. And you know what's really funny is it was freezing out there, and those balls are probably not like I'm catching a Nerf ball or something.
Yeah, but
but he's got to catch it. I
mean, he's got to catch it.
Andrews fumbled for the first time in his career or something like that.
If you are the top 4 fantasy player at your position and you've been playing at that level for years and you are in this game and a guy hits you right here, it doesn't matter what,
Gotta catch it.
it's kind of like Jackie Smith. Me and
I
my
was just thinking,
me and my buddy were laughing.
The
He's
Cowboys.
got to be the sickest guy in America right now.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing. It's a wide open tight end who couldn't catch the ball, but it happens. And
Yeah.
I don't blame Lamar for being mad though.
No, but I mean, Andrews is the quality player. It's not like he said.
Do you think he'll be there?
Think he'll be back?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
I really don't. I think they've overpaid for him for the last couple of years. He was great before they gave him a big contract. Now, likely seems to do way
How
better.
often do you see that you get a big contract and you don't play well?
All the time. But
Devontae Freeman
Yeah.
comes immediately to mind.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. But you have one of these moments where we laugh and we go, man, if that guy makes a field goal, he never has to buy a meal again in this city or something. Well, guess what? If Andrews makes that catch, he gets to eat linguine until the linguine and clams for the rest of his life in the city by the bay.
Well, it only would have tied them up. You never know what would have happened.
Absolutely, but people
get
still
there.
give you credit. Bucky Dent didn't win the game, but he tied it. So sometimes you get credit for tying a game.
Yeah.
You know what? I realized watching football this weekend, I think Tom Brady sucks as an announcer.
He's horrible.
I cannot
he's
stand watching.
he's
Just his
yeah.
voice
I don't
irritates
care him
me.
that much.
Yeah.
He's not doing a good job with it.
And this is just me, and I hope our friend Mr. Limpert is watching, and he can throw me under the bus on this. He has no confidence with what he says. He might know the game, but he is very rigid. Throw me in that spot. I don't understand the game nearly as well, but it'll at least flow, and
You'll have some energy, and
he doesn't. He doesn't have it. He
Yeah.
doesn't have it.
Yeah.
That's funny. You should choose that word because Rick Limpert wrote me this week. He said, "Man, your show flowed so well last week."
Well, there you go.
So there you go. Is it NBC or Fox that Brady works for?
Fox.
He's on Fox, yeah.
Robert and I are available.
Well, I
if,
thought he was
for
actually,
the
I
right
thought-
price.
I thought it was going to be on the panel in the studio. I didn't realize he was going to be
A color guy?
A color guy, yeah.
Yeah.
So I think he'd be much better behind the desk. And that's
Yeah.
where Matt Ryan is, for example.
Yeah.
I think Matt's doing a good job. I see him every once in a while.
He's okay.
He knows the game. He's all right.
Yeah,
But,
It's not easy when you're used to being this guy, and then all of a sudden you're, hey, I'm supposed to be cool and know everything. So
Yeah.
it's not always a seamless transition. Romo, phenomenal at it.
man, he is. I didn't think he was going to be good at all, but he knocks it out of the park. He's great.
And it's not just because he tells you exactly what play is getting ready to happen. He's smooth,
Which he does.
and it flows. The whole
Him
show
and Nance
flows.
work so well together.
They do.
You know what he is? He's very natural.
Yeah.
He's just very natural behind a microphone, and you can relate to him.
Yep.
Yeah, you can.
And that's what I liked about Keith Jackson. That's what I like about West Durham.
Western. Yeah.
We like Will Durham too.
Yeah, I sat next to Will at the basketball game.
Okay.
West's son.
All right.
So West still calls Falcons. He calls ACC football. He's still my second favorite announcer of all time behind Keith Jackson. And then,
Yeah, Keith was good.
and then
Yeah, he
Jim
was
Nance
good.
is probably just.
Whoa, Nelly.
Those are both football guys, but Jim Nance can do anything.
He can.
He's
He
good
gets
at
a little,
golf.
a
he's
little
good at-
dramatic every
yeah,
once in a
yeah.
while, but
Sure.
he sends a good message,
Hello,
Yeah.
friends. I mean, I'm sunk when he says that. He's, I'm in. Yeah.
Yeah, but he can cover any sport. That's for sure.
He can do that.
And the one sport or the one game we have not mentioned yet had Saquon go 26 carries for 205. I mean, talk about a guy getting pay dirt. Hey, I'm going to pay you like number one. That's okay. I'm going to respond like number one.
Did that
bet.
game wind up a split 28-22? Wasn't that the score?
28-22.
It was 6-point favorite, wasn't it?
6.5 or 7.
okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I thought it was 6. I thought that was a push. I don't know.
Yeah.
Larry,
So, yeah.
when he comes out of his beer stupor, he can check that out.
So real quick, remind me, the quarterback for the Chargers didn't have an interception all season.
Justin
through
Leonard,
4.
Through 4.
Oh my God!
He had
Are
3
you
all
kidding?
season, and
Wow!
he throws 4 in one game.
Something like. I mean, that's just nuts. Nuts.
It is. It is.
And I think 2 pick sixes. Was it? I
Yeah,
know
for
there
our
was
show,
one.
it was a push.
Well,
It was a
yeah.
push? Yeah.
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 Anyway, but the games were good.
Yeah,
Games were great.
it was great, and we got 3 more football games. And Oh,
What do y'all think about this weekend?
huh? We're going to go and talk to him, but
Oh,
we're
there
going
we
to do
go.
our American Access commercial.
Ah, there we go. My bad.
That's
jumping ahead.
Tired of going to the same old places for the same old thing? American Access has your solution. Whether you're looking for something new to do before or after the game, the most memorable work outing ever, or just wanting to take something else off your bucket list, American Access has their 3.5 Atlanta locations waiting for you in Marietta, Tucker, downtown at the Works, or the uber cool new mobile Axe experience that can be set up wherever you need. Keep an eye out for them at upcoming events and festivals, and look us up at American Access or give us a call at 678-763-3635.
Where?
American Access online or 678-763-3635 to schedule your next adventure.
Did you have to do that to me?
Yeah, I did.
All right, we thank you, Dan Fisher, for being the sponsor of Three Guys Who Love Sports.
Dan throws axes for a hobby. I'm definitely not siding with you on any of these things. It's always with Dan. I love Dan.
We all love Dan. And speaking of coming in, Carrick Martin just walked in. Carrick is
He's looking good in that bright hat of his, doesn't
is that a KSU hat? Oh, what does it say? Oh, Mac Attack. You got to like that.
There we go.
We needed one of those.
Man's already got a hat that he probably made himself.
Well,
he's not.
I think Will came up with that because Will said when Coach was on, he said, "Oh, you can call the offense the Mac Attack."
Absolutely.
I think you get McDonald's to be the sponsor and call it the Big Mac Attack.
No, that's a heart attack.
Oh.
The Big Mac attack is another attack.
All right. Speaking of attacks, we got 2 more ball games to attack and see what we think about them coming up this weekend. The Washington Commanders getting 6 at Philadelphia.
They might beat the spread, but I don't know. I want them to win. Let me be clear. I'm always for the underdog. If I don't really have a team in the hunt, I want the underdog. You gotta love it. Haven't been there for 32 years, I think, something like that.
Commanders have been since 95, is that right?
I thought it was
91,
92,
92,
something like
yeah.
that. Yeah. Anyway,
It was one of the beat downs.
Yeah.
My Bills lost 2 Super Bowls that were okay.
Yeah.
It's not too bad.
Scott Norwood.
There was one.
Scott Norwood.
But didn't Jalen hurt his leg last week? Got a little
Jalen
twist
did hurt
up
his
there. Leg. Yeah, that could be a factor. But I want the Commanders to win. Hopefully they can bring their full game and they can beat them.
That dude is an athlete. I was telling Robert on the phone the other day, if I had my number 1 pick right now for my fantasy team next year, give me Jaden Daniels. That guy's going to be a stud and a half. Not that he's not already, but I think his stock has risen. The Redskins, Commanders better start saving up some dough to pay that boy.
Let me ask, Rob, what do you think the Commanders' secret has been to get this far? Anything jump to mind?
Jaden Daniels.
Okay, got it. Just
Pure
he's
and
that
simple.
kid.
I now I'll say this on Quinny Boy.
Oh, Dan Quinn.
Dan Quinn.
Whenever a new coach comes to a team or organization, even if it's not a very good message, you get responses that first year. When Jerry Glanville first came to town, the message was old by the 4th year, but that first year, man, people were running through walls.
Yeah.
So Quinn's message, along with Jaden Daniels doing everything that he's doing, it's just working for them. It's just working for them.
It's clicking.
So what was Raheem's problem? It's not working for us.
Well, you got to have Jaden Daniels in that equation. So, once again, this
Gotta have
part's
the players,
working
yeah.
except for that.
Yeah.
And I'd just like to point out, even last year before the draft, when Jaden Daniels was listed as like the 9th best guy, I was like, no, that's the guy. Falcons need to trade up and get that guy. And man, has he looked good.
Well, I think I have picked the Commanders the last 2 weeks, and I'm going to stick with them. I just think the Commanders have the it factor this year. And we'll see what happens. I mean, McLaurin's playing fine. Brian Robinson's running the ball now that he's not shot anymore. And
Life isn't easy when you're shooting yourself.
Yeah. Austin Eckler's done okay. He's getting better as the year goes along.
He is the he's the cog that I think makes this whole offense work. You know, I think he averaged 8 yards a carry, only had 5 or 6 carries, but then, you know, he caught all 4 targets, and what he's able to bring to that dynamic, I don't know, because they don't have a lot of weapons. I've never been that impressed with that Robinson. So.
Brian Robinson. But what they did on the road in Detroit was probably the most impressive thing that happened over the weekend.
They put 45 up on them. I mean, that was one of the 3 best defenses. So yes.
Well, and the one thing I don't know what the weather's going to be up there. It's probably going to be cold because it's still going to be cold here. But
miserable.
Washington and Philadelphia are not very far apart.
2 hours.
You're going to have half the stadium maybe filled with Commanders fans. That's going to matter.
I don't think there's going to be that many Philly people selling those tickets to Commander people.
However, but it's a lot different from Buffalo going to Kansas City, just as for example. It's right down the road.
And I mean,
so hopefully that'll work.
I know we've got a lot of Commanders fans who are going to the game, as Farrell was alluding to, and I just want to give you your inside tip. Carry an Eagles shirt or a green shirt, so that
don't
way
wear anything Commanders if you want to get out alive.
After you win the game, you do not want to be leaving that stadium or in that parking lot with your Commanders. So just be able to throw on that quick green shirt so you can escape to your car.
Great tip. Yeah.
But, you know, those teams played twice this year. Washington won 36-13 or 36-33 the last time. Lost the first game 18-26.
Okay.
This
gonna be a good one.
This is a real game. I predicted the Eagles to win the Super Bowl before the season started, so I'm locked in with that pick for the winner. But I think I'll take the. I wish there was a hook on this. I wish Larry would just start adding hooks. You know, it's not 6. There's never 6. It's 6.5. But yeah, I'm gonna take the Commanders this weekend.
Right.
39 degrees at Lincoln Financial Field when they kick off on.
It's comfortable enough for
3
football in
o'clock on
January.
Sunday.
And how about that other game?
Yeah.
32.
That other one.
32
32
games.
degrees.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Can Buffalo do it this year? Can they?
You know, this is a less talented Buffalo lineup than they had last year and everything else, going back to the same thing that we were talking about with the Commanders. They're just winning, you know. At some point, you know, it doesn't matter what's going on here or there. If they turn to Josh quickly, don't let them get down and then say, okay, now run crazy. You know, let Josh do Josh's thing in the first quarter. In the second quarter, I think they win this game. I think they win this game because, and I know I'm going out on a limb and there's going to be zebras jumping in front of my car on the way home. But knowing they blew so many calls last week.
I was about to bring up that same point.
There's no way that they're going to quickly side with that, you know. So gotcha. I think if there's a brutal hit, you know, halfway through the first quarter, they might sit on their hands for a second, you know. We don't want to give this one to you since the whole nation already thinks it's going to happen. So I like Buffalo. I really do like Buffalo.
Yeah,
I do too for several reasons. Number one, they've been beat up enough. I think Kansas City came to their house last year and beat them.
Yep.
I think there's a little bit of a revenge factor in there. And I just think they're a better overall football team. I mean, Kansas City's, they've got some talent. I mean, Xavier Worthy is a lot better than what people thought he was going to do. Hollywood Brown's starting to catch a little bit more. They now have 2 running backs in Hunt and Pacheco. So they're a good team. But to my point, or to Robert's point, that's exactly what I was going to bring up. The referees might just be a little unbiased because they appeared so biased.
A little extra unbiased.
Because they appeared so biased in this last week game. And you know, Mahomes said, I thought they called a good game. I said, well, what else are you going to say? Yeah.
Well, right. I mean, you can't throw yourself under the bus. You know, those guys are sending you Christmas cards. You're sending them Christmas cards. You don't want to. Man, those guys called a horrible game. Thank you, by the way, Dan.
Got a lot of weapons. Is Andy Reid the better of the 2 coaches?
Yeah, I think so.
That matters.
I think Andy Reid's one of the greatest coaches there ever was.
Yeah, that's going to matter with about 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
that's when it's going to come into play.
Well, that's when it's always mattered for
Yeah.
Kansas City because, you know, with 6 minutes left to go, they always have the right play call and everything else. And let me just backtrack for a second because we're talking about awesome plays. And I threw Dan Campbell under the bus a few weeks ago for running one of the most beautiful hook and ladders I'd ever seen in Week 17 in a game that mattered not against the San Francisco 49ers. And I told everybody, you know, you wait and see. They'll wish they had that play back. Well, guess what? They wish they'd have had that play last week.
Good point.
Andy Reid has plenty of plays to call. It's just a question of if Buffalo can tighten up.
Instead of Jameson throwing an interception, didn't he throw an interception on an end around or something?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, let me ask you guys, you think a key, and y'all know more about this than I do, is it Buffalo's defense? Is that the key to the game in stopping Mahomes and, you know, the offensive weapons? Is that
they played
truly
so
the fundamental
well
key?
this week, and I don't know if it was because they were at home, because when they played at Baltimore, they lost 35-10, right?
Earlier in the season.
Yeah, earlier in the season. But I think they have come around a little bit. They played better defense. Again, when you're at home, you've got some lift there, and I think your fans cheering for you helps. But I don't know what's going to happen at Kansas City. I mean, that's one of the loudest places to play, from what I hear.
It is, but I don't think there's two things that I don't expect to decide the outcome. One is weather, and two is noise. But these two guys, they've seen it. They've been there. This is, I believe, their 9th game head-to-head.
Okay.
Mahomes is 3-0 in the playoffs. Josh is 4-1 during the regular season. So
they're 4-4.
There's a difference there. Clearly, one of them's winning all the big games that go in the almanac. But I think the Chiefs have a much better defense. It's going to be up to the Buffalo defense to step up and make sure that I really don't see how they win this game unless Kelsey gets 14 targets, 12 catches, 127 yards, and 2 scores.
I got you.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Yeah.
We'll see.
I'm excited about it.
It should be both. They both should be some good games.
So who are you going to take?
You know what? I am going to go with Buffalo this time. I think they can do it.
That's all 3 Buffaloes.
Woo! There we go.
Didn't we go all 3 Washingtons?
I took Washington beating the spread but losing the game.
Yeah. Well, then you
that's
take
what
Washington.
I did, so that means you took Washington.
You still took Washington.
Okay,
Yeah,
gotcha.
so we're talking about what spreads.
Spreads, got it.
I think I'd take Washington straight up. Yeah.
I thought you did.
Yeah.
Maybe I misunderstood. I thought you took them
it
straight
plus
up.
the points.
If Jalen Hurts is not healthy, and
if he's not healthy, they don't stand a chance.
That's a good point.
If he is, you look back at that where they did not run a tush push late in the 4th quarter of that game.
Yeah.
That tells you how iffy and tweaked he is. So
good point.
They better have that back into the repertoire if they're going to win this game for sure.
Yeah.
They did complete pick up first down on a lot of 4th downs.
Yeah. Hey,
in
didn't
the
they, real
game.
quick, didn't they have the safety last week?
That was Kansas City.
Kansas City. Okay, I'm just trying to think. Yeah, because
the
quarterback wasn't moving well and got just sacked.
Yeah,
just crushed in the
what
end
was the
zone.
spread on that game? Was it 9 and a half, and then it moved inside 9 with the safety?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
That
but
was nuts.
I think Buffalo's going to do it this time.
So Farrell, obviously you won't be here next week. Who do you have winning the Super Bowl?
You know what? Since I picked Buffalo to win, and I think Buffalo's going to take
Philadelphia.
it. Buffalo and Phil. I think Buffalo's going to take it this year. I do. They need it. Well, they all need it, but what Philadelphia won a couple. I really want Buffalo to win it.
Your picks went away a week ago.
So I can start over.
Well, I was going to say, then you did make new picks last week, but I don't remember what your new picks were.
I don't remember. Well, I still had Houston in. So I said Houston was still in.
Okay, so you had Houston and
Green Bay.
Yeah. So now you're officially
Toast.
And what are you thinking? You went with Washington and Buffalo?
I think the winner of the Buffalo KC game will win the championship.
It always scares me, kind of like the old NFC championship games from 1984 to 1989. You knew whoever won that game was going to win the Super Bowl, but
yeah, that's a good point.
Sometimes it takes a lot out of you.
I expect these ball games to be competitive. I really do. I think they'll both be not going to be a Georgia TCU type of situation where.
Yeah.
The only way that you can ever have, going back to my whole thing that everybody always comes back, the only way that you can ever have a game like that is if they're really not the same Jimmys and Joes. If Philly goes up 21-0 on this game, Jaden Daniels is still going to put 24 up in this game. It's just going to happen. They're never going to shut him down. So.
Well, again, I think as well, real quick, on the Super Bowl itself, we know for years and years and years the games are just not competitive. But, yeah, I don't know, the last 6 or 7, they've been good games.
Yeah.
You know, really much better than the prior 50 or whatever they were, where it was always a snoozer. But these games, they've been competitive in the Super Bowl, so I expect it again this year.
Well, this last weekend, 9-6-2, and then there was a 14-point game, but pretty close.
Yeah, close stuff.
All right, guys. Well, Robert, good show. Farrell, thanks for coming
Loved
on,
it,
buddy.
man. Love the invitation.
Enjoy your trip back to Northwest, Southeast, Northwest, Louisiana, Montana State, whatever it is.
Northwest, Southeast, South Dakota State.
East,
That's the one.
actually, I think I don't know. It's East, Northwest, South Dakota State.
East, Northwest, South
Remember
Dakota
that,
State.
guys. East, Northwest, South Dakota State.
That's one of my favorite
that's it.
colleges. What's their mascot?
I can't remember, but remember
Polar Bears.
He
Let's
was
make them the Polar
It was
Bears.
my choice when I was #1 pick last year. The long snapper for them
There you go.
was one of my choices for #1 draft pick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would have
But I
been
went the other
Caleb
route.
Williams.
I went the other route.
I saw a great meme on a possible AI recruit called "Sorry for Cussing." Did you see that?
Oh yeah.
Pretty funny.
That's actually a real thing.
Is it really?
Yeah, so there's a game, and the guy who dominates the game more than anybody else created a player called Sorry for Cussing.
Yeah.
And basically put him out. The guy's a stud. He goes to Texas and everything else. Yeah, he's
All right. Well,
boy,
Robert,
here we
good
go.
show, buddy.
Thanks,
Good show.
guys.
Hey, guys, don't forget.
Love being here.
Cover your ass. Know your numbers. Get that prostate checked. We'll see you next week. Wednesday night. It's nice and 25 or something like that outside.
Balmy.
Very balmy. And it's time for the Owl Show. Can I get a big hootie-hoo? We're here to talk all about KSU sports. Got a couple of football players coming on tonight. We're going to talk to them. But first we got a commercial, and then we're going to do a little recap of what happened at KSU this week in sports.
Making preparations for when you're not around anymore is not easy. Nobody likes to think about their own mortality, and we can talk about it next week. Doesn't always fit into the big picture. And that's why you should contact our friend Ron Smith at Senior Life Insurance. Whether you're being buried or cremated, costs keep going up. But you can lock in a price today and take that final expense off your to-do list. Do your loved ones a favor and take care of your final expense so that when your time does come knocking, they won't have to worry about it. If you're age 1 to 85, they have a plan ready for you, so please contact our friend Ron and his team at 440-561-0758. What number was that? I said 440-561-0758.
And thank you, Rod Smith, for being the sponsor of the Owl Show. With us, Adam Crooks, a little under the weather, but Adam's going to give us a little recap of what happened at KSU this week.
It was a good week in KSU sports. We started out on Thursday with the women's tennis team. They were meant to take on Georgia Gwinnett at home on the Betty Siegel tennis courts. That match didn't happen. Georgia Gwinnett pulled out at the last minute because they were scared of us, obviously.
Gwinnetians.
Yes.
You can't trust them.
The men's and women's basketball teams on Thursday swept Sam Houston.
OT wins both of them, weren't they?
Yes. So the women's team got their first Conference USA win of the season, which is big for Coach Blue. And the men's team took care of Sam Houston State.
Which should be easy. I mean, Sam Houston's been dead for 150 years. You think it'd be
Yes,
easy
he
to beat
has.
He's not the best dribbler.
No, he's not.
And then they also played Saturday.
Yes, they did play Saturday. Friday, though, the men's tennis team traveled up to Clinton, South Carolina to take on the Blue Hose of Presbyterian. They beat Presbyterian 6-1. So a great start to the season for the men's team. They were meant to start the season down in Miami. That match got canceled, so they filled it with Presbyterian, and they looked good in the victory.
That's good.
Yeah, isn't it funny? Some ball games in South Georgia got canceled due to snow.
Yes.
That freaks me out.
Snow from New Orleans had 8 inches of snow yesterday.
Crazy stuff.
So I'm sure a few more cancellations today and yesterday.
The men's and women's teams played again on Saturday, and they split the series with Louisiana Tech. Men's team got the win at home. The women's team lost in Ruston, Louisiana, 83-71. They both play tomorrow against New Mexico State. The women's team plays at home. The men's team goes on the road to Las Cruces, New Mexico.
That was a really fun basketball game Saturday.
Yes.
La Tech scored the first basket on a alley-oop jam, and that was the last time they led. Between then and the end of the game, it fluctuated between a 1-point KSU lead and a 10-point KSU lead was the biggest lead they had. Probably the best game I've seen Simeon Cottle play. He was everywhere, moving without the ball. He had 25, 26 points, something like that. Really, really good ball game. They played really good defense. I still have some issues with the way they run the fast break, but
Now, Simeon is a junior this year, is that correct?
Yes.
Simeon is a junior.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, his game has stepped up each year, and wow, I can't wait to see what March is like this year. And
It's only because his dad was on the show.
well, obviously,
Yeah, obviously. I think Simi at one point went on a 9-0 run by himself. So anytime you can go on a 9-0 run by yourself, you're
That's
doing
a
a
good
couple things right.
They shot a lot better than they did in the Thursday night game. That's for sure. Very impressed with the hustle on Thursday night, because I think La Tech was, I think they're like 7 games over 500. We're
Yeah.
only 3
Yeah.
games over 500, something like that. But again, the Combo Center has become a type of a home court advantage. Really much so. It's a great crowd. Not huge, but big crowd, and it was fun.
Yeah, I was sitting over there with the bananas.
I saw you
we
dancing
saw
with
that
the bananas.
picture.
Yeah.
And when you're just a few games into the conference schedule, sometimes a team might have a much better record, but turns out they haven't been playing anybody. We've been to Canada, we've been to California for a few games, so we've been playing a little bit of competition, and I think that's going to work itself out now that we're in the throes of the conference schedule.
And our good friend Chuck Stone got awarded something as the best teammate.
Best teammate for the basketball
Yes.
team.
Go Chucky, that's the man. All right. Congratulations, Chuck. And before I forget, also Alyssa Reed, I know a lot of you know Alyssa. She's been on the show a few times. Her mother passed away this week, so prayers and thoughts are with you, Alyssa, and I hope everything goes well.
First female fan ever on the show.
Absolutely. So, Alyssa, thoughts are with you, Dawn.
Absolutely.
All right. You through, Mr. Strip?
I am not.
Okay, go
I
ahead.
have a lot more to go. The men's tennis team traveled to Rome on Saturday to play West Alabama. That match was relocated from Kennesaw because of the chilly weather. They swept West Alabama 4-0, 4-0.
So they play in Barry?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. I was just told that the match was in Rome.
Okay.
There were some awards handed out, as you mentioned, Chuck. The Owl Choice Awards. Best game face went to Hugo on the men's tennis team and Ty Hardiman on softball.
Hugo.
Rookie of the Year went to Bo Rudy on baseball and Kaylee Walls on volleyball. Iron Owl went to Delaney Hurd on the men's basketball team and Sophia Unger on the women's tennis team. Teammate of the Year went to Chuck Stone and Rachel from basketball and Rachel Dodsworth from cross country. Biggest hoot went to Muhammad Diaby and Maggie Bird. Wise Owl went to Delaney Hurd and Caroline Cole, somebody we've had on the show.
South Carolina Friday.
Player of the Year, Man Johnson from the football team got that one, along with Manu Johnson, who's also been on the show. And then Perseverance Award went to
What's
Harry
the chances that Man won and Manu won?
They won the same award.
They
Yeah,
both
it's got-
won. They won one.
It was a good day to be named Man.
Apparently.
Ooh.
Well, at least Man, maybe maybe Man.
And then Harry Kane and Caroline Cole won the Perseverance Award.
Saw Coach Schunsel Saturday, too. It was good to see him. Hadn't seen him in a while.
There are some games coming up this week. Men's and women's basketball play tomorrow against New Mexico State. If you don't have ESPN Plus for some reason and you want to tune into the New Mexico State game, there will be a radio broadcast of the women's basketball game against New Mexico State. Tennis goes down, both men's and women's goes down to DeLand, Florida to take on Stetson on Friday.
If they clear the snow off the courts.
Yes. And then men's and women's basketball plays UTEP on Saturday, and track goes to Lincoln, Nebraska.
Both the women's games are home and both the men's games are away. Is that correct?
Yes.
Basketball.
Yes.
That's the way it's working now.
Well, I tell you, that's a lot of traveling between DeLand and El Paso and Las Cruces and
They're all over the place.
Lincoln.
There's an owl everywhere.
There's an
There
owl
is.
everywhere.
There is.
Truly.
That's all I have, Chuck.
All right. Get better. Robert, let's go and get
I
our two
hope I do.
commercials out before we get Amari on.
Joshua Smith and his wife Tammy are both graduates of Kennesaw State College. He's been practicing law for 24 years, specializing in sports and entertainment law, while continuing in criminal defense, civil litigation, juvenile and personal injury. And he's ready to represent you all the way from your small town to the Supreme Court and any appellate court in between. With all the new rules regarding NIL and cash payments to athletes, they are placing a new emphasis on Kennesaw State University student athletics to help our student athletes better navigate some of the bigger issues that have tripped up so many. Give them a call tomorrow at 706-217-2095.
Call them where?
You can call them at 706-217-2095.
Thank you, Joshua and Tammy, for being sponsors of the Owl Show. Saw Josh and Tammy on Saturday. There are a lot of places to get your oil changed in the Kennesaw area, but if you're looking for a personal experience, then stop in at Castrol Express Lube. I did this at the first show. Castrol Kennesaw Express Lube or Lost Mountain Express Lube. We'll always do our best to get you in and out quickly, safely, without a whole lot of fuss. We're a true owner-operated business, and you'll find Brian under a car or hood at one of the shops. We offer experienced, knowledgeable technicians and the latest computer software to help maintain your new car warranty and keep your pride and joy running for the next 100,000 miles. We proudly offer
Castrol products.
You know what it is? The reflection that's to me of the.
See, Chuck,
I
it's
gotta
not.
hold it up like that.
I told you it's not easy to read those commercials.
It's usually easy.
Let me just say, you got the easiest one to read. You should just slam that one home every night.
Okay. All right. We have a new guest on our show, never been, and a new Kennesaw State Owl, Mr. Amari Odom. Big hoo.
How are you, sir? I'm great.
Listen to that crowd for you, man. Did you hear that? That's amazing.
I heard it.
Amari, welcome.
How long have you been an owl for?
I've been an owl officially for, I'd say, almost 3 weeks.
3 weeks.
Wow.
Yes, sir.
A owlet, as it would.
He is a baby owl. He is an
Yes,
owlet.
sir.
He is an owlet.
Yeah.
So you're from Cary, North Carolina, and you were at Wofford. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. Originally from Inglewood, California. So
Okay.
family is from California, Southern California, but I went to high school in Cary.
And you didn't move out to Cary until you were in high school, or?
Middle school, around middle school.
Okay.
yes,
Okay.
sir.
It's always I moved to Georgia when I was 7, so it's always a good
Yeah.
The first part of your life was trained and programmed in California.
You still got family in Inglewood?
Of course.
Everybody okay? Nobody
sir.
caught in the fires?
Nah.
All right.
Everybody's okay.
Cool. All right.
So tell us a little bit about what brought you here. I mean, what
The whole process.
When you were in Cary, how many teams were you recruited by?
I was recruited by a good handful of schools, mid-major G5, UNLV, ECU, UMass.
Oh, UNLV?
Good name of those schools. But my junior year basketball season in the playoffs, I tore my ACL.
So
I
you
didn't
played
get
basketball too?
Yes, sir. I didn't
Wow.
get to play my senior football season. So then those offers went cut down, and then at the end of the football season in my senior year, Wofford and Furman were kind of like the last two to stick around. They came in late, and Wofford provided the opportunity for me to play and come in and play early. So that's ultimately why I chose Wofford.
Wofford Terriers, is that
Yes,
correct?
sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Wow.
So
Look at Josiah. He's paying close attention there. He's learning to know about his new teammate.
Yeah, absolutely. So you got injured in basketball in your junior year, and it basically cost you all sports for your senior year.
Correct. I didn't get cleared from my ACL the next January, so I came back and played the last half of the basketball season of my senior year.
Okay.
In about 9 months, but yeah, I didn't get to play my senior year football. So
Wow. So you were like quarterback of the football team, probably power forward on the
point guard.
Point guard.
Point
wow.
guard, yeah, tall point
the-
guard.
He's used to getting the ball out.
He was a BMOC, man. He was the
Tall point
athlete.
guard.
So Cary is in West. It's around Charlotte somewhere, isn't it?
No, actually, it's near Raleigh, right between Raleigh and
Oh yeah,
Durham and Raleigh.
yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Tobacco Road area.
Yep.
Yeah, I've been up
That's
that way a few
exactly where it
times.
is.
That's
Yep.
where KSU played up at Greensboro for the
Okay.
basketball tournament 2 years ago.
Okay.
March Madness.
March
Oh,
Madness.
yeah.
Yeah. So how did you find out about KSU, or how did KSU find out about you?
And how long have you known about KSU?
I've
3
known
weeks?
I've known about KSU probably for about 2 years.
Okay.
So probably when I got to Wofford, the FCS level, we were just transitioning to FBS, but I heard of them. They were winning a whole bunch. But I found KSU because me and Coach Mack and Coach Mitch, the offensive coordinator, we have a little tie. Coach Mack was actually a head coach of North Carolina Central where my mom was
That's
coaching
right, yeah.
women's basketball. She was the head coach there. And so that's where we originally met Coach Mack. And then, let's say, going into my 10th grade year, I went to a Tennessee camp when he got to Tennessee. And that's where I met Coach Mitch and Coach Mack. They liked me a lot there. But
Was that Tennessee camp in Knoxville?
yes, sir.
And you probably would not have gone had Coach Mack not worked with your mom, right?
Yep.
That was the
That was
connection.
the connection, yes, sir.
Okay.
So, 10th grade year, I went to that Tennessee camp. That's really where Coach Mack really saw me play quarterback and throw the football. And then Coach Mitch also saw me at that camp. So they've kept in touch with me a little bit throughout my high school and college careers. And so when this opportunity came for Coach Mack, when he got the job, I was one of the first people he called. And I told him I
You
was
better be
injured.
telling the truth, girl. We're gonna ask him.
I was one of the first. He called me, and then I hit the portal a couple of days later. I mean, I hit the portal before, and then he called me, and I was very interested in coming to Kennesaw, being the guy for Kennesaw.
Had you been to Kennesaw, Georgia before?
I have not. I have not been to Kennesaw, Georgia before. I didn't know it was this close to Atlanta, so that was kind of a surprise.
You
But
kind of like that, though, didn't you?
yeah, I like I'm a big city type guy. So
Yeah.
I
Well,
like that.
Cary's not exactly a big city.
Nah,
Well,
no.
and in Wofford, you probably weren't, you know.
Oh
that-
no, it was in downtown Spartanburg, but it was not like a big
Spartanburg
city.
still.
Yeah.
Yeah, Spartanburg just north of Greenville, which still isn't that big of a city. But yeah, so you've been here on campus 3 weeks.
Yes, sir.
What do you like?
I really like the team.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been around the team a lot. We've been working out, winter workouts and stuff. But just the difference is for me was the amount of people. Wofford is a small private school, about 1,800 students, and then Kennesaw having
45,000?
47,
Yeah.
45,000.
Yeah.
I mean, it's different. But I mean, I just like the area. That's the main thing I've taken away from it so far. I mean, it hasn't been too long for me to find
Soak
something.
it all in, yeah.
Yeah.
Soak it all in. That's funny. So, I mean, you're looking forward to going to Braves games and stuff like
Oh,
that.
yeah, of course.
Are you a
Of
big
course.
baseball fan?
I'm a Dodger fan.
Oh,
So,
are ya?
Yeah, but being from
Get out. Just leave now.
But
Oh, being from Inglewood,
yeah,
you
yeah.
got to be a Dodgers
Of course.
fan.
He's a Laker, a Ram. He's
nah,
a,
not the Lakers. My guy is Russell Westbrook. So when he was on the Lakers, that was the team. But
Okay.
Did you
yeah,
play
I'm-
basketball too?
yeah, of course.
Baseball?
I
Is
did
there
play
anything you didn't do?
I didn't do a lot of stuff, but basketball, football, and baseball were the sports I played growing up.
Has anybody threatened you about getting near a basketball? Like
Coach
you know,
Mack, like, don't know.
yeah,
don't,
yeah.
don't
no
go
no crossovers. I don't want to see the UTEP two-step or anything else.
Coach Mitch actually said I cannot play no type of pickup, no type of one-on-one.
Sure.
He just says the only thing I can do is play horse or shoot around. So
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you know, at some point in time, you understand it. He's learned enough about you to know you're competitive,
Yep.
and he knows whoever you're playing against is probably going to be a teammate. They're going to be competitive, and you
hope
know,
so.
man, we don't
don't need
want
anybody
that.
getting hurt.
We do not want that to happen.
So when did you start playing football? How old were you?
I would say, I don't know, probably very young, probably 4 or 5.
So pee-wee football.
Yep.
Yeah, I guess
Flag
that's what they
football,
called it.
I-9,
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
That's when I started.
Something tells me he was never called Pee Wee, but yes.
I have a good, yeah, maybe right out of the womb, but not much longer after that. Yeah. How big are you?
I'm about 6'5", 200.
Yeah.
You're trying to put some more weight on, but pretty good height, 6'5".
Oh, I got an idea that Coach Mack and the boys are going to put plenty of weight on you.
Oh, yeah.
Well, not plenty of weight, exactly the amount of weight
Yep.
they'd like to have on you.
Yeah, that's the plan.
That's
So
awesome.
when you look, was there any particular player that inspired you to play quarterback, or is it just something you wanted to do?
Well, growing up, I played pretty much everything, what everybody does. Played defense, played receiver, running back. But I don't think it's a player, but I'd say Cam Newton was,
Cam Newton?
yeah, just being a big quarterback, being
He
a
was
big,
that.
tall quarterback. Not physically stature like him, but just being a tall quarterback. And then the emotion and the energy he plays with, or used to play with, that really kind of me. That's my favorite player.
So you said that, who was your college team growing up? I'm sure it wasn't Wofford.
Nah, it was not Wofford.
UCLA and then
Probably.
NC State?
Yeah, UCLA. It wasn't NC State. My mom actually coached at Duke and North Carolina, so
It could have been
For
anybody, but it wasn't going to be
yeah,
NC State.
not NC State. But I mean, I really didn't have Duke or in Carolina as a football team. They were more. I was on the basketball side because I
Yeah.
grew up wanting to play basketball. But UCLA, I'd say, was the football team.
If you
that I
hadn't
really-
gotten hurt, you think you'd still be playing basketball, or was football? Did football win out because you got hurt, or?
I think during my recruiting process, I was getting recruited more to play football by football coaches, and basketball coaches were more hesitant. They were like, "Oh, he's getting all these football offers."
Because of the ACL, or?
No, it wasn't because of the ACL. It was just because they thought I was getting better. I was better at football. I was getting more football offers. So
Yeah.
that kind of leaned me towards pushing to play football. But I kind of wanted to play basketball in college.
Are you still growing?
A little bit, yes.
A little bit. Well, you know, I mean, when you're talking about recruitment in two different sports, you know, it makes a big difference if you're 6'5" at 15.
Yeah.
You know, 6'5" at 15, all the blue bloods want you. But, you know, if you're still in that process of growing, they might have, you know, figured, he doesn't have any more in there. He's gonna die 6'3". Wrong.
So what? You guys can't start practice until when?
we cannot start practice until the end of February, probably beginning of March.
Okay.
So right now we're just going through winter workouts, lifting sessions, but then February we'll pick up more meetings and install stuff to lead us into spring practice, which starts in the beginning of March.
Yeah, so the coaches, they can be in touch with you. You just can't practice, right?
Yes, that's
They
correct.
can lead your sessions, your weight sessions or whatever. They just can't instruct you and say, we can't practice football.
Correct.
Is that right? That's interesting. Yeah, and now National Signing Day is February 5th.
Yeah, the second National Signing Day, I believe, is sometime in February.
Yeah. Yeah. So who else, when you entered the portal, you said you had already talked to Coach Mack. So did you enter the portal because you knew you were going to be going to Kennesaw State, or did you enter the portal because you were really looking for other options?
No, I entered the portal because I was kind of looking for other options.
Yeah.
I knew it was announced that Coach Mack was going to get this job before I entered the portal, but I didn't contact him until after I entered the portal. But I entered the portal because I wanted to kind of be on a higher level. Wofford, I played kind of well, okay, for what I think at Wofford, but I wanted to see how far my film could get me when I entered the portal, so that's really why I entered it. And then there were a couple schools that hit me up.
What were the other schools?
Can't even think now. I've been so locked into KSU.
That's a solid answer.
That's
I don't
very
even
solid
remember,
answer.
but it was a couple other G5 schools. I was kind of hesitant on waiting for the Power 5 school. I didn't want to wait too long, but I knew once it was official that I was in the portal and Coach Mack got the job, was a place I wanted to come.
Well, you've been a Mac Attack fan for quite some time. So going back to middle school and now, what's it like coming to a new school where I can only imagine, if you move halfway through 7th grade, you're the new kid. You don't know anybody. But now all of a sudden you're in a city where everybody's new. All the coaches are new. Half of the players are new. So that's got to be kind of interesting where, you meet somebody and you're like, man, how long have you been here? A couple years? I've been here 12 minutes. So, how's that been as far as meeting people and meeting other people who have just showed up like our second guest?
It's been wild, just asking questions on where's this building at, what's this professor's name, all this stuff. Like they're learning as well as I am, but it's been fun. Like we're learning together, and that's just what's going to grow us closer as teammates, as coaches. So it's been enjoyable. It's been fun. It's been pretty hectic, but I mean we love all that comes with it. So.
Oh, yeah, I can't imagine the thrills of being a college athlete. Did you know anybody here besides Coach Mack when you got here?
I knew one of our receivers, Neville Dean. He's friends with a couple of my old teammates back at Wofford. So I met him, hung with him a couple times. So that's the guy I've kind of been leaning on to help me find my way around, put my feet in the ground when I got to campus. So Neville, shout out Neville.
So you, go ahead. So
You just did.
Yeah. Did you visit the campus before you signed, or
Yes, I did come on an official visit.
first impression? What did you think? Other than
Big.
the size, yeah.
Big, but I just like the vision. Obviously, like the stadium and stuff. I like the vision that Coach Mack and the AD had. Mr. Millen had the plan for the football program. To be honest, it's rapid pace. It's growing really fast. They just got the FBS. We just got the FBS 3 years ago, going into our third season. So,
Second season.
This will be our second
This will
season.
be
That
our
was
second
actually the
season.
first.
Oh, okay. So going into second season, so it's growing really fast. The support is amazing, as they described to me. So it just be a fun ride just to witness all of it and go through it as a player.
So you haven't seen the football team in action, so
No, sir.
you can't make any comparison between the speed of the game at Wofford and the speed of the game at KSU yet. How much of a difference was it between high school and Wofford?
I say for me, the difference really wasn't the speed of the game. Maybe like adjusting a couple plays to players. It was maybe one drive, so it's about 6-7 plays. But after that, what really sped up was just the line. I say the line is so much bigger and stronger, so they're getting to you a little quicker. But the receiver routes, all that, we get that timed up in practice with quarterbacks and receivers, so that really wasn't much of a difference. But definitely the line just being so much bigger and stronger and faster. I mean, that's kind of was the biggest difference for me coming in from high school.
Nice.
And the same type of difference, from high school to Wofford and now to here. All your offensive linemen just gained an extra 25 pounds
Yep.
as well. So your wide receivers all took 2/10 of a second off of their time. So it's cool stuff. So does that you're self-motivated. Every great athlete like yourself is. As you said or kind of alluded to, that being at a smaller school and wanting to taste a little bit more. Once you leave a school of 1,800, come to a school of 48,000, and then, as we said, the kids are a little faster, the blockers are a little bigger. Do you feel a motivation inside where, like, all right, I can't rubber stamp anything. I got to go work out. I've got to do this. I've got to lead by example and gain those extra lbs that my coach wants me to.
Yeah, for sure. Just knowing taking another step forward in my college career, just on the college level, everybody's a little better. So I just got to push myself the extra mile to be the best that I want to be and to be the best player on the field that I know I can be. So that's definitely extra motivation going into this offseason, going into the spring, definitely in the summer, because once the fall hits, that's where I want to be. I want to be the best.
Have they given you goals of where they want you to be in terms of size and weight and all that?
Not yet. Me and Coach Mack have talked about it a little. He wants me to be. My personal goal is to be at that 210, between 205, 210 range. I just want to be able to withstand some hits that I took at Wofford that I couldn't really take. But we haven't talked about it yet. We're still in the early stages with Coach Dub and Coach Troy, our weight room, our strength staff. But we'll get there hopefully eventually.
Let me ask him a question real quick. A follow up on that. You said you're 200, and you'd like to be 205 or 210.
Yep.
Well, as a fat old man, I can tell you, I think, wow, man, you could add 5 pounds real quick. Where are you looking to add 10 pounds from your pecs up? Or are you looking for leg weight? It seems like such a small amount. I'd like to add 5 pounds.
Yeah.
I was wondering how scientific it might be as far as where you plan on adding it. Is it in your legs? Is it in your chest or arms or a little bit of everything?
To me, I think my legs are pretty strong. As I said earlier, coming back from the ACL, I had to do a lot of leg stuff. So I think my legs, they might not look it, but I think my legs are very strong. I'm really trying to put it upper body, so arms, chest, even bracing for my neck and stuff for no concussions, but really upper body. That's where I want to gain that muscle just so I can withstand some hits.
And in your opinion, an extra 5 pounds up high is going to give you the thickness to fight off some of those other injuries.
Yep, that's right.
So who's the pro quarterback you want to emulate?
The pro quarterback, obviously everybody wants to be the best. I think I play like
I could write the name real quick if you like.
Go ahead. I want to see your guess.
Go.
I bet I know what he wrote, and I don't know if it's right.
I think I want to play like a Patrick Mahomes.
That's what I would have thought. Is that what
Who
you
doesn't?
wrote?
No, I did not. I did not.
I think I'm more of a Patrick. I want to say Jaden Daniels physically, but I'm not as much of a runner as him.
I was going to ask you passing quarterback?
Yeah, I'm more
You
of
a pocket passer?
More of a pocket passer. Yeah, I like to get the ball out to my guys and let them do it.
But there's nothing like when it's man coverage and all those that whole secondary has its back turned to you running away.
Take off,
Like
yeah.
quarterbacks draw up the
I
middle.
feel like I might be a runner today.
Yeah, that's cool. One other thing we like to ask all our guests is we've asked. I can't remember what Coach Mack said. Do you remember?
I do.
All right. Yeah, we'll talk about it. Who's the most famous person in your cell phone?
The most famous person on my cell phone?
That's what I asked you.
Probably. That's a great question. I want to say Russell Westbrook.
Oh, yeah? He's in your cell phone?
Yeah.
You know him well?
Yeah, know him pretty well.
Let's call him. No, I was kidding.
Well, I'm not going to say anything about all those triple-double records at this point.
For the former coach, his was Jerry Rice.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah. Who did Coach Mack say?
I would say Charlie Ward.
Charlie Ward, Florida State quarterback.
Let me just say, as a young whippersnapper
You
like
got
you
some
are,
connections.
you've got a couple of really nice names in that phone. I've got one more for you. At Wofford, this wasn't an option because guess what Wofford wasn't? They weren't in the game. But you'll be in the game next year. When you get to go buy that video game and there is a player that actually looks like you, is you, and everything else. So my question for you, what should your number be?
Overall?
Yeah.
I want to be.
Go ahead.
Personally, I think I should be like a 92.
A 92.
You gotta love that.
Realistically, I'll probably be hopefully somewhere mid 80s.
Yeah.
Mid 80s.
I have no idea. I used to dominate those types of games, but 92 sounds like the like somebody who's starting at Texas or something like that.
I think Travis Hunter was a 95.
Okay, yeah. So you're right behind the possible
number one draft pick. Yeah.
That's good.
Cool.
That's good.
That's cool. So this is really kind of early for you because you've only been here 3 weeks. But what makes you want to become an Owl, and what would you tell anybody else they wanted to come to KSU, or why they should come to KSU?
I say just look further than the record and the stats. This team we will be good next year. Like the team last year. They weren't 2-10. They weren't that bad. They had a few 4 or 5 games that were one possession games that they could have won. And talking to the players, maybe it was the coaching staff, and we have a new coaching staff now, so that those 4 or 5 possession games could turn into 5 or 6 wins. So this team will be good next year, and I'll write that down. Everybody write that down.
You just did. You're on national TV.
So
right
we
now.
will be good next year. So any recruits, transfers. Just looking the vision that the program is the vision that the program is building. Like we're going to be good next year. Believe that.
I love it.
I love that too, and we certainly appreciate you. Now, before you leave, you have to make us one promise.
What's the promise?
You'll be back.
Oh, I'll be back.
I'll
be back.
All right, everybody,
That's
out of
what
a
we
big
need.
hand for Amari Odom and a big hoo-hoo.
Thank you.
Let's do our brain train commercial. And we'll get Josiah on. Thanks, buddy.
Hey, it's Melissa at Brain Train Centers, the fastest growing neurofeedback provider in the world, and I have some pretty important questions for you. Do you or someone you know struggle with focus and attention, sleep, memory, or other mood issues? Or maybe you just want to achieve more in high-pressure situations? Well, what if I told you you can unlock your brain's full potential and change your life entirely through neurofeedback, a drug-free and natural approach to negative moods, and it's backed by more than 50 years of research, so it's not new. It is safe for both children and adults as you retrain the brain to create new pathways. Medication may help short-term, but they don't address the underlying issues. Just as push-ups help your physical strength, neurofeedback is personal training for your brain. With over 20 offices nationwide, don't hesitate to reach out to Brain Train Centers, as we will provide you with the highest level of compassionate care and help you achieve the mental clarity, performance, and calm you deserve. Your journey to a better quality of life starts with a brain map. Now you can retrain your brain and reset your life. So just call or text 470-291-2778 or visit braintraincentersinc.com.
Sounds like a Cajun name, doesn't
You're back live.
I didn't see the countdown. Hey, thanks. Welcome back. Thank you, Megan and Melissa, for being sponsors of the Owls Show. We're here with our new KSU lineman, Josiah Chenault. How about a big hootie-hoo? Hey, you guys over in the corner, we said, how about a big hootie-hoo for Josiah Chenault over here? All right. There you go. That's what I'm talking about.
We knew he had that hootie-hoo in him.
There you go.
How are you, sir?
Good, and yourself?
Good. Glad to have you here. So let me ask you this question. How long have you been an Owl?
Officially, I've been signed since December. I signed on Christmas. So
Nice Christmas present to us.
So 3.5 weeks or so.
For sure. But I've been up here about 2.5.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. You loving it so far?
Oh, I am. I'm enjoying it. I thought I was getting away from the snow coming from D.C.
Wrong.
Yeah.
Not today, you did. I mean, we actually avoided some yesterday, but yeah.
For sure.
That's cool.
Now, Howard is a traditionally, historically black
HBCU.
university,
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
and not a very big university as well.
Yes, sir.
What's the rough enrollment there?
I think about 9,000.
About 9,000.
Yeah.
So what'd you think about this place when you got here?
It was very eye-opening. It was very eye-opening to see that a university could have so many students.
A smaller university, not you weren't going to Michigan or USC, and you still had that much.
Yeah, I went to the cafeteria, and I was just like, wow. I had never seen the cafeteria so big, and I was like, I understand why now because there's so many students here. But I'm loving it, though. I really enjoy it.
I love the fact that you managed to get to 300 pounds without ever seeing a cafeteria that size. I mean, Coach has got no worries about adding anything he wants to you.
No.
That's beautiful.
So tell us about your journey, Josiah. High school, where did you go to high school?
So I went to Seminole High School in Sanford,
Florida.
Yes,
yeah.
sir. Yes,
Yeah.
sir. So
Did they get any snow last night? No, that's a little bit further south.
Yeah,
That's down around Orlando, right?
Orlando, yep. Yes, sir. So high school, I really wasn't recruited like that. I had, a couple offers coming out of high school. I had Maryland end up having that taken away from me due to, size, measurables. Didn't want to keep their average at 6'6" offensive lineman. But, Howard University gave me an opportunity. And
6'3", 300 wasn't good enough for that.
Wasn't good enough. It's okay, though. It's okay.
Yeah, we're glad. I'm glad you're not a Turk or a Terp.
Hey, I'm glad to be out, man.
So how did you get from Sanford to Howard?
So I got from Sanford to Howard. They had like a camp in Orlando, and I think it was like an HBCU camp, and Howard ended up being there, and they ended up offering me on the spot after me doing a couple drills. They told me to stop. They were like, "You're done for today."
What drills were those?
I think it was
pushing a sled.
I think we did like the pro agility, and then we did like offensive lineman versus defensive lineman pass rush 1-on-1. And I think I won like 3 reps back to back, and they were all right. Yeah,
They said, "You're done."
Yeah.
Quit making all of our defensive people feel so bad about themselves.
For sure.
And so you were 1 year at Howard?
2 years.
All right.
2 years.
And how did you find out about KSU?
So I've known about Kennesaw State for a while now. Before they moved to FBS, I had came to a couple camps. They had like the mega camps that they hold every year.
Okay.
And I ended up coming, I think, like my sophomore, junior year, right after COVID. And I came and, did the camps, but never really, got any traction. But I've known about Kennesaw State for a long time.
So unlike Amari, you had been on the campus before.
So I had originally never been on the campus. I had only been to the Perch. So like the practice
Down there where they throw the discus and the hammer.
So
and all
I
that
had
stuff.
never been on the campus and seen any of the buildings really like that.
Yeah. What are you majoring in?
Psychology.
Oh yeah.
I'm not making eye contact
That could
anymore,
be trouble.
Chuck.
Yeah. That could be trouble.
So it's interesting. Being a very simple-minded person, I used to think that camps were, a way to get rid of your kid for a couple weeks in the summer or whatever. But you're actually looking for these camps and going to different camps because of the people that you would meet at the camps, and so you went to a camp. And it brought you to your first school, and you also went to a camp that brought you to your second school.
Yeah, you kind of think of it as kind of like a big job fair for high school football players.
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy. I
So
never really thought about it.
How'd you get connected with KSU other than through the camps? I mean, did they reach out to you? Did you reach out to them?
Yeah, so I hopped in the portal right when it opened. It was going a little bit slow. I was worried for a
And
second.
why did you get in the portal?
I got in the portal just looking for
A little bit closer to the mic, if you would. Thank you.
I got in the portal looking for a better situation as far as football. Wanted to go somewhere where the goal in mind was winning. I didn't really feel that, at my previous school. Nothing against them, but I wanted to go somewhere where I could win and be developed at the highest level, and go and get some better talent. So that's the reason why I hopped in the portal.
There you go.
Okay, and then they reached out to you when they saw your tapes, or?
So Coach Clemens, he was at Mississippi State, and he had reached out to me and was like, I'm taking a job at Kennesaw State. I really don't want to recruit any more centers. I love your film. I'm excited. I want you to come up
You're
on
a center?
Yes, sir.
Wow. So you'll be handing the ball to Amari.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So we got the right connection here tonight, right?
If this was baseball, we brought the whole battery with us.
We brought the battery with us.
For sure. But, they reached out, came up on a visit, and really liked it, really liked the campus, really, like Amari said, sat down and talked with Coach Mack and, seen the vision that he had for this program and that this is not a 3-year, 4-year time to wait to win. We want to win right now. And,
Sure.
And that's what he's saying.
And Robert and I, we have a 5 o'clock show too, and we talk about the parity in college football now.
Mm-hmm.
Look what Indiana did last year. Coach Mack came on the show 2 weeks ago and said we can win now. I mean,
Yeah.
look at the other schools that
Yeah.
they're doing now. Vanderbilt did it.
Yeah.
Navy did it. Army
sir.
did it. I
Sure.
mean, it can be done now.
Sure.
2 years ago, I might not have believed that, but now I do.
It can be done.
And we were talking earlier about bowl games, and are there too many bowl games and whatever? Well, when I wear my KSU hat, there's definitely not too many bowl games because I want as many bowl games out there to open the. But this conference has gone to, I believe, 4 bowl games last year, and then 5 this year with the addition after the Marshall. Everybody left there. So, you don't have to win the conference
To get to a bowl game.
to get to a big game and have everybody in the Orlando area watch you on TV.
Yeah, for sure.
That's got to be exciting.
Absolutely.
I was just thinking, we have a center here and a quarterback. Do we have a football anywhere where we can demonstrate a proper
Oddly,
snap?
I do have one in my car right next to the
look
tape
at
measure.
you. That's funny. That's good. So how did you get to be a center?
How did I get to be in the center?
That's the same thing I asked you.
Yeah. Really, I all through Little League, I played, every position on the line. And,
Both lines.
Both line defense.
At the
and-
same time.
Yeah.
Walked up hill both ways to school.
Funny fact, I actually played quarterback for a little bit.
Did you really?
I did for probably like 2 seasons. I played quarterback. It wasn't a lot of throwing. It was kind of just Josiah left and Josiah right.
Right, but if nobody can stop Josiah left or Josiah right.
Yeah. So, yeah, but
Watch out. Amari, he's after your job, buddy.
But playing center, I really didn't start playing center until I got to high school. The head coach, I was out there trying to play, tackle, and they're like, 6'2". You're not going to get recruited at tackle at 6'2". So I ended up making the switch to center, and end up working out best for me.
Yeah. And I talk about this occasionally. It's probably the most underrated position in football.
Most definitely.
Because you start every play.
Yes.
You mess up, nobody else matters.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Never underestimate the value of a great center.
You're not a long snapper, just traditional
center.
Now, most of the offenses, if you've been in, or was the quarterback in the shotgun, or is he up under center?
So at my previous school, we were a little bit pro style. So we did a little bit of shotgun, got in a little bit to single back, I formation, mixed it up a little bit. So I got a mix of both worlds.
That's good because there's a lot of different schools where there is no mixing it up.
Yeah, for sure.
This school in particular, we never went out of shotgun for the first 7 or 8 years. There wasn't. We had a team.
It was a single wing school, wasn't it?
Yeah.
For a long time.
Yeah. Now, do you have a preference?
As long as we putting the ball in the end zone, I don't really got no preference.
So, you say no preference. Do you like to fire off the ball with a run play, or take that first step back, knowing that you know what they don't know yet? A little bit of both, depending on the play call.
Yeah, depending on the play call. It's a situation in time, where you're supposed to come fire off the ball.
Sure.
And sometimes where you got to be, a little bit more patient with it, try to get up to the second level. But, I try to mix it up, try to keep my defender, on edge and not knowing, what's coming at him.
I love it.
I do too. That's just awesome. I had a question a minute ago. Blank me, Robert. If you've got one.
I got the question now. I already asked your new teammate, but at Howard, you weren't in the game. But now you're at a school that's in the game, which means come in a few more months, you and every relative you ever have is going to be able to go to the store and buy the game.
Yeah.
What should your rating be?
What should my rating be?
And how much higher do you think it'll be going into next year? I didn't ask him that question, but he's already only 2 points behind the Heisman Trophy winner, so he's not going to get too much better already.
Yeah. Wow, that's a good question. Realistically, just because of my situation coming from where coming from, HBCU, a smaller school, I know they won't give me too much love. So I would realistically say probably about a 78, 79. I think that's pretty.
And after you go out and manhandle Conference USA this coming year, do you think you'll be up to an 84 or something the following?
For
there
sure,
we go.
for sure.
Moving on up.
Yeah,
So,
trending up.
I'm not sure how this portal thing works. Did they offer you? Did they say you will be the starter, or you got to come in and earn this? Or?
Most definitely. So it was nothing, Coach Mack, Coach Clemens, Coach Mitch, they didn't promise me anything. They said, you're going to have an opportunity to come here, play some real good ball, get an education, and, have an opportunity to play if you do what you're supposed to do. You come in here and you work hard and, get the playbook and, do what you're supposed to do, then, you may have a chance of being a starter for the Kennesaw State Owls. And
there's some questions I wish we'd asked Amari. We'll have to have him back on again later. Where's your favorite stadium you've played at?
Favorite stadium that I played at? So at Howard, I played at some pretty nice stadiums.
Oh, yeah.
I would think so.
I played – so this past year I played at MetLife. So I got to play at MetLife.
That's where the Commanders play?
Giants.
Oh, the Giants, that's right.
So
yeah.
we went up to New Jersey and went up there.
Rutherford,
yep. We played again in New Jersey. We played Rutgers. That was a pretty
Scarlet
loud
Knights,
stadium. Yeah.
big stadium.
And then my freshman year, we played right up the road at Mercedes-Benz and HBCU National Championship.
Oh yeah, that's cool. Did you enjoy that?
Yeah, it was really nice. It was a long walk from where they dropped us off to the locker room, but
it was, find that bus driver. Who let us out over here?
For sure. But
that's funny.
It was really nice. It was very eye-opening.
Did you win that game?
We did not.
Always
pretty exciting being in it, though.
I think Mercedes-Benz is an odd stadium in that if you're in the stands, it's dark. It's like you're at the theater. All the light is up down on the field, which to me is kind of odd. But, I think it's cool. It's kind of a theater atmosphere. Yeah. Makes it a little bit more intimate. Yeah. Is there a field that you'd like to play at that you haven't played at?
Fifth Third.
You're going to play at that one. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah. Nah, long as we're coming out with the W, we got one more point than our opponent. That's all I care about.
I love that.
I have a feeling that Amari and Josiah will both be playing at the Bahamas Bowl before their time of year is done.
For sure.
Only if they'll take us as like their
we're coming with them. We're coming with them.
Or something.
when I show up with Josiah, they're going to go, who are you? I'm in charge of carrying this young man's luggage. They're like, you can't carry his luggage. You can't carry anything of his.
Yeah, you can't carry your own. You have to be me. Right. So we asked Amari about who he exemplified or who he wants to be like. Is there a center that you say, man, I want his skills, or man, I want to be like him?
Yeah.
I know very few centers, but I know a few.
Yeah, obviously the greatest center of all time, Jason Kelsey.
I was going to say right off the top.
Oh, I forgot about him.
Yeah, Kelsey, and then the Pouncey brothers.
Yeah, Nate.
When they weren't killing people, they were good.
Yeah. Mike Webster's the one that came to me. Do you know who he is?
I don't.
He was for the
Pittsburgh Steelers in the 70s.
Super Bowl teams.
Yeah. Okay. That's who hiked it to Terry Bradshaw for all those years.
Okay, good deal. And then probably the last one would probably be Creed Humphrey for the Kansas City Chiefs.
There you go.
Yeah. Who was the quarterback? Who was the center that was Falcons? He was somewhere else for a long time. Cleveland. Then he came here. Oh, Mack.
Oh, it was Mack.
Yeah. It didn't Kevin Mack. It was
no.
Something Mack, though.
Yeah.
He was a great center. Trevor Mack? No. Yeah. But, it's not a position that a lot of them get slapped into the Hall of Fame. I think Webster's in there.
Alex Mack.
Alex Mack. Yeah, that's the one.
Amari joined a position that clearly, they talk about him on TV and girls want to know who he is. Nobody becomes center because they want to see their name in print, right?
Yeah.
But you set the table for everybody else's success.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Hey, Adam, let Amari borrow you. Amari, come back up here for a minute. I want to got some comparative questions for the two of you guys. This is going to be fun. So, yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
And you can hear us probably well enough.
Can you? Oh, there you go. All right. So, you both vying for starting positions. Whose job is harder to get into that starting lineup?
To be honest, probably his.
Yeah.
To be quite honest, it probably
because you that good?
Nah. It's more so. I got to set the protections, make sure the offensive line is all on one accord, and
it's more than just hiking the ball.
Yeah, for sure, and make sure that me and the quarterback are on the same page. But he has to worry about everything else. You got to worry about
else.
Worry about if we doing a full slide to the right, who he got to throw off hot or whatever the case may be. He has to worry about all that. He has to worry about, changing, plays with receivers. I ain't got to worry about no receivers. I'm not worried about them skinny guys. I'm worried about the five guys on the line with me.
I forgot we have one more commercial to do. Let's do that, and then we'll finish up our conversation with Amari and Josiah. Robert has to pull that up.
Tired of going to the same old places for the same old thing? American Access has your solution. Whether you're looking for something new to do before or after the game, the most memorable workouting ever, or just wanting to take something else off your bucket list, American Access has 3.5 Atlanta locations, including Marietta, Tucker, downtown at the Works, and the uber cool new mobile Axe experience that can be set up wherever you need. Keep an eye out for them at upcoming events and festivals, and look us up at American Access or give us a call at 678-763-3635.
What number is that?
678-763-3635 to schedule your next adventure.
And we thank you, Dan Fisher, for being a sponsor of the Owl Show here with Amari Odom and Josiah Chenault. Great new guys. Just been on the campus about 6 weeks together, and seem like they're going to be spending a lot of time together with Amari's hands up under.
Be careful where you go with
Josiah's,
this.
hiker. Yeah.
Under his hiker.
Under his hiker, yeah.
I have a couple questions for Josiah.
Let me ask one real quick. You prefer the shotgun or under center? I'm talking to you, Amari.
I prefer shotgun.
Do you?
I do prefer the shotgun.
Okay.
And,
All right, Adam.
and how about you?
Like
He said as long as they win, he doesn't care.
As long as the ball is getting in the end zone, I don't mind.
They throw a lot of times they'll throw a flag on somebody and you're like, I didn't do that. Do you ever commit a penalty and they throw a flag and you're like, yeah, that was me?
Yeah, all the time.
Hopefully not all the time.
No, not all the time.
We'll
but,
be backing up 10 yards a spot.
Nah, for sure. But I tell people this all the time. Offensive linemen hold every play. It's just whether or not you get caught or not. So if
There was a funny line that came out of this weekend, and the guy looked at the ref and he said, "You call me for holding." He goes, "I held on the last two plays, but not on that one." So like you said, it's always going on.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, that's funny.
One of my favorite penalties is false start on everybody but the center. Is that? Have you done that?
Everybody but the center. I don't think so.
You're always snapping on time, is what you're saying.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Everything's on two, except for the center thinks it's on three.
So we asked this of Josiah Amari, but we didn't ask you which favorite stadium you've ever played in.
This past year, our last game was against South Carolina.
Oh, in Columbia?
Yep, in Columbia. And they were on a little 5-game win streak.
Well, they were pretty good towards the
And it
end
was
of that
senior
year.
night, and it was military appreciation night. So it was a good little crowd all the way up until the end. They blew us out, but it was a good little. The energy was amazing. So
Yeah,
I
I'm
love
sure.
that.
I'm sure.
Where do you want to play other than Fifth Third Bank? Is there a stadium you've always wanted to play in?
Any pro stadium, obviously,
Yeah.
because that NFL is the goal. But I don't know. I think the Rose Bowl. Rose Bowl, just
If it
being
doesn't burn
The
down.
granddaddy of them
granddaddy of
all.
them all. And that stadium is just. I've been to a couple Rose
Yeah, I was
Bowls.
going to say, you've been to it.
That stadium is crazy.
I've been to the stadium. I've never been to a game there, but it's funny how it just sits in the middle of a city park.
Oh yeah,
It's not
City
like
Park.
it's-
It's a golf course right next to it.
Yeah,
It's,
yeah.
It's
And
crazy.
it's almost all below ground.
Oh yeah. You
know,
walk
where
in.
Most stadiums are built up. That one is just a
That
big
one
hole.
in the big house.
Correct.
The big house is way underground. Yeah. I hope it doesn't burn down before you get a chance to play in it, because they're struggling out
I
there.
hope not.
Yeah. All right. So you think you're going to get a 92? You think you're going to get a 79? Is that what you said?
Yeah, 79. That's being more realistic.
Is there some kind of friendly wager we could have here? We don't know.
You know, we should get something, and then we'll just put everybody's personal prediction into a hat, and then we look at it at the end of the year and see who came closest.
Have you done any working out together yet in terms of snapping?
No, we haven't
can't even do that, huh?
Can't even use balls.
Can't even use a ball?
Not really. It's just
Hey,
straight
Chuck,
lifting and running.
maybe if they exceed what they predicted, we'll donate a certain amount of money.
Oh, we could
We're
do
always
that.
about donating.
I love you. You're not gonna be a
92
93.
is great. That was just what I feel like in my heart.
Well, no, hey, and
I
you know
say
what?
it.
That's
It's
why
called
you're a
confidence,
quarterback.
baby. It's
That's
called
why you're a
confidence.
quarterback.
Yeah.
If you didn't feel like you'd be a 93, you'd be
I think I'll be a 50.
one day I'll be 52. So, meeting up with all the other kids, all the new teammates, older teammates, how has that been? Just a lot of fun.
As I said before, it's been fun just learning the ropes with all the other transfers that came in because we got a handful of them that came in. So doing that, going through stuff with them, the new stuff with them, that's been cool. But meeting the other guys, like, it's fun. Like, we're all college kids at the end of the day. Everybody has jokes. Everybody has a personality. So just spend time with them after runs, after lift. It's been fun.
And I got to say this about you specifically, because I didn't spend much time with you the other day on Friday, but I saw you. I said, man, this guy's, I don't think he's going to be a great guest. He's just so quiet and stoic, but that is not you. I was totally wrong.
I say I'm pretty quiet, but I mean, I got a little personality when needed. Like, I'll talk.
There you go, yeah. But that was a pretty cool event on Friday. Both of you were there.
Yeah, it was very cool.
So did y'all meet Callie, the girl that was on the panel?
I didn't meet her, but I've heard of her. I heard of her before. I knew she was one of the people that got selected to play for Team USA.
Well,
Olympics.
she's the one that signed the WWE contract,
I saw
so she
that
could
too.
throw you both down. I guarantee. Might have even you.
Yeah, I don't want no problem. I don't want
She came on the show. She squatted at him, put him across her shoulders, and did like 100
While she was
squats.
talking.
Yeah.
So,
Eating dinner and all that stuff. So she's probably going to be in the 28 Olympics with the hammer throw. Really, really good girl. You need to get close to her. We want to help you guys as much as we can. You know, the whole purpose of our show is to raise money for KSU. We have sponsors, as you've heard, but we don't keep a penny of it. Everything we get goes to Kennesaw State Sports because we love the school and we want to be a part of it. We're at the first floor of a something major.
Absolutely.
And, first year of Conference USA, and we want to be there for the long haul.
Yep.
So
You just said something that kind of got my mind thinking when I asked about players, and you guys said something about the other guys in the portal. Is there kind of like a portal gang right now where it's like all the people who just came to the school who haven't actually been around here? You know, I don't want to say they have you guys segregated, but, obviously all the other rooms were taken. You know, there's already a lot of things. So how exactly has that worked? And
I don't think, we're more separated. I think that, we know each other because we're coming out of the portal. And so we still trying to warm up to, the rest of the guys. And, that'll come with time. We had an event, I believe Monday. Coach Mack, had pizza and wings for the national championship. So we was all in there fellowship,
nice.
Talking, cracking jokes, just having a good time. I still don't know half of their name, but, that'll come with time,
But once that first practice happens and you guys show up and you lace your shoes up and everything else, then the respect comes.
Right now everything's still new, pretty new for the guys that came in through the portal or the early enrollees. So like we're still trying to get our feet wet a little bit, still trying to find our way around. But with more workouts going on, more guys getting to know each other, our voices are becoming heard. People are becoming more leaders and stuff. So
awesome.
I mean, just over time, as he said.
No, we asked Amari, did you know anybody here before you came here?
I did. So one of the running backs, DJ Scott, is from Sanford. He went to Oviedo High School, but he's from Sanford. So I knew him. We
rival high school, but
they ain't want to play us. I think we played them one time, and we like mercy ruled them like within the first quarter.
running
got
clock
mercy
in the
rule
second
in
half.
high school football?
Oh yeah, running the clock.
Yeah, like
I know the running clock.
I think we was like 35-0 in the first half. But me and DJ have been like playing each other like since Little League football. So
that's cool.
So I've known him for a good amount of time.
Did he have anything to do with you coming here?
A little bit, I had made a post said that I was at Kennesaw State, and he said, come on to the Saw.
Come to the Saw.
We talked on the phone briefly. I said,
Lots of home cooking going on
There
here.
you go.
let me know if I'm getting myself into something. He's like, told me about Coach Mack, said, we gonna be in good hands. I said, all right, I'm gonna trust you on this one.
He seems like a great dude.
Yeah,
he really
and
does.
Mike Kershaw too, so y'all know
Yeah,
Mike.
yeah.
Obviously. Was Mike integral in bringing you guys on, or was it mostly Coach Mack reaching out to you?
I didn't meet Mr. Mike till I got on my official visit. But he seems like it was mostly Coach Mack and Coach Mitch for me.
Yeah.
Likewise,
Same
same
way?
same thing.
All right, great. Well, guys, we've enjoyed having both of you on. We just, like I said, you got to promise us you'll come back.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But other than
fun.
that, we want to keep
This
up.
is
We
fun.
practice, so when spring practice is over, maybe we'll get you
for
back
sure.
on and see how it went.
Yep, of course.
All
That
right.
sounds
Love
good.
to have you.
All right, one more big hand for Amari and Josiah and a hootie hoo.
Thank
All
you,
right.
gentlemen.
Robert, good show. It was a great time. And we look
Absolutely.
forward to being back next Wednesday. Hopefully, it'll be a little bit warmer here at Miller's Ale House.
Please,
Until then,
God.
take care of yourself. We'll see you next week. Hootie hoo.